Hello and welcome back to the Invictus stream. My name as always is Mr. Harlan Guthrie, and I am here with the lovely Mr. Alex Guthrie. How are you doing, Alex? The fantastically talented Miss Jo Fallak. Wow, that seemed mean. And the supremely sexual Mr. Justin Thomas James. And we're here, I can't do it, I can't go lower than that, with Chapters of the Undefeated, Episode 7. We're just getting more and more Tasmanian devil-like. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Invictus stream. I am so excited to be here on this Wednesday night. This is our ongoing series of D&D 5th edition run by Jo Fallak, called Chapters of the Undefeated. And if you have yet to watch any of these episodes, you are in for a real treat tonight. This game follows a band of travelers, Graham, Tados, Quintus, and Leah, of the Undefeated, as they make their way across this beautiful land. What is that? I hear a sound. Yeah, so this is Game 7, Episode 7. We're going to be running this and Episode 8 for this week and the following week. Please, if you are, is this your first time on the Invictus stream, just a fair warning, it's probably going to be, excuse me, an 18+ show. That means we're going to say some no-no words. Well, what's wrong? Oh, no! I'm so sorry. This is totally my fault. I did. It's okay. They can't hear you right now. It was an accident. There, you should be good now.
No. Are we? Oh, hello. I'm
there
Alex.
You go.
Are we good now?
Let's try the whole thing again. I can just cut it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're live! Hello all, welcome back to the Invictus stream. My name is always Mr. Harlan Guthrie, and I am here with the supremely sexual Mr. Alex Guthrie.
Oh, thank you very much, Harlan.
The lovely, talented Miss Jo Fallak.
Thank you very much, Harlan.
And the fantastic Justin Thomas James. Line, you just go over the top in that.
Go deeper than that.
And we are here with Chapters of the Undefeated, Episode 7. I am so sorry, that was totally my fault. Normally I do a pre-check, and I didn't do it today. So, welcome to the Invictus stream. This is, of course, our D&D 5e campaign that we've been running for many weeks. We are in Episode 7 tonight, and you're in for a treat. We're happy to step back into this role. If you have not watched the Invictus stream, this is a perfect place to start, probably. Please know that this is an 18+ show, so if you feel uncomfortable with the amount of no-no words that we're about to embark upon, that's fine. You can close the video. But before you do, you make sure to like it and subscribe and send it to your grandma, because we're going to make a grandma stream. That's just going to happen.
And your grandma loves no-no words.
She really does. In fact, just the word no-no is a no-no word to her. So.
And speaking of no-no words, this is your warning. Viewer discretion is advised. Secretions. Excretion.
That's right.
Excretion.
So please make sure you like the video and subscribe to us on YouTube. Also, make sure you join the Facebook group. The Facebook group is the place where we go and hang out and have just a right old time. It's where we can share ideas about RPGs. It's where we can talk about a variety of different subjects, and it's where the community interaction really takes focus. Also, when you're a part of the Invictus Stream Facebook group, you have the chance to win something we like to call the most valuable post, which would go with this sound effect. That's right. It's the post of the week that we sort of select amongst all the posts that have happened to distinguish and acknowledge. And this week, I would like to announce the winner. Brooks Shot, I believe is how you say that. Shot. Who, lit a bit of a fire under our ass, to be honest. They asked, it would be so awesome, or they sort of made a comment, if we uploaded more to the, to our podcast. And we've had it for a long time. And thank you to Brooks, to sort of kickstart that in a long way, because we've done it a little bit, and we're really going to be focusing on it for the next little while, which also sort of segues into a huge thank you to Miss Aisha Lyle, who has converted all of our past games of previous to 2018 to audio format, so we actually have them in audio format. Yes way. So
where can they find that?
Well, you have to wait, because we're going to convert them to podcasts, and then we're going to put them on our LibSing account.
Yeah.
So,
but you can't find the podcast itself on iTunes I think. Yeah, if you just search the Invictus stream on iTunes for
You
podcasts,
absolutely
you'll
can.
find it.
Yeah, I was actually doing it today because I had set it up so long ago. I was kind of like, hey, is this still a thing? And you absolutely can. The Invictus Stream podcast. Oh, I'm reversed.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And what's up there right now?
Nothing. We don't do anything on it. There. That's
It's like Grim up
No,
to
right now,
episode 3.
yeah, we have Call of
Call of
Cthulhu, 1, 2, 3, and 4, Running Dead Reborn, some Grim. So there's a lot of cool stuff there.
And Swashbuckler's Life 3. Just
And a random Swashbuckler's Life, which was arguably the best one. So yeah, if you have or subscribe to podcasts, make sure you subscribe to us because there's going to be a lot of stuff coming up. And then give us a 5-star rating because why wouldn't you? Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, if you're watching this right now and you made it this far, we deserve
You
a 5-star
like us.
rating.
Admit it. You like us.
You like us. So yeah, well done, Brooks. Thank you for saying that. It was a very simple comment, but you know, it really sort of clicked a few things for us, and we're really going to be taking a focus on the podcast going forward. So thank you. Well done. You win some experience points.
Spend it wisely.
Spend it very wisely. I used to buy it candy. I used to buy a lot of candy, as you can tell. So make sure you go out and buy some candy.
4 experience points.
Oh, well, you can have a kick in the teeth,
little
young man.
Yeah, God,
Here's the nicest onion I have.
Eat it. There's a candy at the center of the onion. Keep eating. So yes, you can exchange XP for onions. Also, there are some extra life rewards that are still coming your way. I do not want you to give up hope because we are also planning to do Extra Life 2018. So stay tuned for lots of that kind of stuff. I also want to do a quick and a huge shout out, I should say, first and foremost, to Miss Nina Starr, who is part of a TV show called Gamers Galaxy TV here in Toronto, on the the ethnic channel. Was it called?
Yes. It's a Filipino TV channel in Toronto.
I think that's just what it's called.
Actually, if you go to their
Filipino.
if you go to their Instagram page, they have all the different channels that they broadcast to. There's like 6 or 8 channels in Canada where you can get their stuff.
Yeah, and she was very, very, very kind. She was the person who interviewed us at BreakoutCon, Joe and myself, and she had us back to sit down with her at her studio, and we talked about the Invictus stream, and we talked about our stream mates, and we talked about the community a bit. There were a few names dropped, and if they don't cut them out, I think I probably mentioned maybe 6 or 7 people.
Harlan was dropping names like something that people drop.
Harlan was dropping names. I'm
Like-
gonna have to bring this up next time we have a discussion in person.
What is that supposed to mean? What?
I think you know what I mean.
No.
We'll talk about it in person.
Why can't we air our shit on? Fine, but fair enough. So thank you to Nina Starr.
It was really fun.
It was
Harlan
so fun.
ran us through a game of the end of the world, and I don't want to spoil anything, but not everybody
Spoiler.
survived.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah.
Spoiler alert.
There's only 2 players. But no, it was a lot of fun, and so thank you to Nina for having us in to do that. Let's do it again. And finally, I want to mention that this Saturday there are going to be 2 very important streams. The first is going to be the second official RPG Invictus Academy stream. That's right. And this time I'm going to be joined by Joe. So we're going to sort of have a back and forth. Her being the rules as written, smart, you know.
I guess you could say that you will be joined.
Where's the cricket? There we go.
Can you explain that to me, Alex?
So to hopefully
The name
offer
is in the word, right?
the 2 sides of the
it.
coin. Joe being more rules as written, but equally as talented as someone much more talented than me, and then me sort of just goofing off and doing things like that.
Whoa.
That was a compliment to you.
Well
I said-
put.
Yeah, I know. It's just really awkwardly worded.
I thought that was Justin.
Oh, the
liked it.
grammar was well placed. Yeah.
Thank you, Justin. You got it. Okay. So yeah, that's going to be this Saturday at about 1. So make sure you join us for that. It'll be about 2 or 3 hours, and we're also going to have a live Q&A session at the end of it. Meaning that if you have questions that have come up over the stream, if you haven't watched it, watch the first RPG Invictus Academy, because again you'll sort of see the format. It's sort of a bit of a teacherly where we sort of talk about 3 subjects, and then afterwards sort of have an open discussion for anything that you want to work with and work on. And later that night, we are going to be doing a spooky stream. That was a nice... Whew. That's right. It's going to be a
Segue.
very special spooky stream. We're going to be playing a game called...
Doki Doki Literature Club.
Wait for it. That's right. It's apparently a very scary game, so make sure you join. That'll be starting at 9 o'clock. So Saturday's going to be a lot of fun. 2 streams there. So make sure you join. There'll be plenty of posts for you to catch up on. Other than that, I think that is it. Is there anything I've missed?
Ooh, I have one more thing that I'd
I'm
like
so
to add.
sorry, Justin.
Last night I was joined by about 12 to 15 of the community members for our very first live community mission, where you guys had your characters, members of the Undefeated, facing off against the necromancer of Selvis. And I just want to say that I had a blast. It was really, really great to have you guys hanging out and being creative with me and telling this story and explaining what your character was doing. We had a few people join the Undefeated. Like there was an ignorant farmer there that was just like, yeah, I'll fight this. I'll fight this necromancer. And then a inept guard also joined the Undefeated. And there were a couple other people who joined brand new. So thank you guys very much for joining. We're going to be getting started on chapter 2 of the Undefeated next Monday. So I hope you got your characters ready and ready to join in.
And it was a fantastic stream. I ended up coming by at the beginning and then a little bit at the middle, but I couldn't do both of the Discord and watching it at the same time. So thank you to everybody who hung out and did that. And I think they really liked it. I was reading through some of those Discord comments afterwards and people were really getting involved. So thank you to Justin for running that community sort of centric game. Lots more to come.
Is it still on the Discord?
Yep.
Like the chat is, yeah.
Where is that?
It's under... let's see. I'm gonna find it. It's under the stream, the Necromancer at the bottom.
Okay, good to know. Thank you. I see it.
Voila.
So everyone go read how that went down, or I guess just watch the YouTube video,
Yeah.
Or that. Yeah.
or do
We'll
both.
do both at the
Or do
same
both.
time.
Read along, see if you can follow.
Perfect.
That's like one of those books where the record comes with it. It's like when you hear the chime. bling,
I have one of
Hey,
those.
how's it going, eh?
yeah. We'll have a conversation with Bob and Doug McKenzie. We used to have that on vinyl, that old Bob and Doug McKenzie one. Now
I'm good,
I have.
Bob, how are you?
Not what I was.
Oh, there's not actually anybody there, eh?
yeah. It was like have a conversation. I have one with the Disney Robin Hood with the vinyl where it's like the big pages and you read along with the book. It's really cute to watch me do it. Anyway, that is it for the intro. I am so excited to start this game off. Who else is excited? Everyone put your hands together if you're excited. Whoa!
Me.
Listen to that round of applause. All right, well, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to announce, once I get this up, there we go, Chapters of the Undefeated, Episode 7.
Previously, our heroes investigated the town of Salisal. After spending the night in King Roscoe's courage and being rudely awakened by the minstrel's night terrors, the party uncovered a strange series of coincidences. The people in this town are plagued with nightmares. The Church of Light had been desecrated, with Sister Heather Constance relating the thefts and vandalism to Alistair and the gods being worshipped there. The town jail is packed with folks admitting to having bad dreams. Chancellor Goots seems only concerned with keeping himself stupefied with drink, and a man named Liam Nee, a tailor by trade, is missing his infant daughter. But our story tonight does not begin here with Graham, Quintos, Tados, and Leah. The sun shines hot and fierce over the stinking alleys of a busy port city. The cries of seabirds mingle with the drone of the waves in the harbor. Salt crystals cling to barrels and burlap in the nooks rarely seen by the rain. Here, in a dingy tavern barely lit by guttering lanterns even now at noon, the front door screams on its hinges to permit the black silk-slippered feet of a swaggering captain. Her skin, brazen and bronzed, tawny by her trade, and her eyes gleaming darkly in the smoke of the bar, and not the least, the ornately jeweled scabbard at her lithe waist attract all eyes here in this place. She casts about for a second only, before sliding into a groaning wooden chair beside a slim man. She takes his tankard without a word, and drains it, before draping an arm over his chair and grinning, drawing a hand into her jacket and grabbing at something hidden there. His eyes glued to her movement as she withdraws a leather satchel, and he intakes a breath that goes on forever. Meanwhile, in Salisal, by the river and the shop boats and the central exchange, a man moves across the street flying into a rage. Leah the halfling and Tados the tiefling sorcerer are standing nearby when Liam Nee exits his establishment to accost a beggar. Quintus, the half-elf fighter, and Graham the human cleric are meanwhile striding into the marketplace, catching sight of the scene as it unfolds directly in front of Leah and Tados. The strings on Liam Nee's apron fly out behind him as he strides quickly to close the gap between himself and the ragged human crouched in squalor by the trading post, and screams, "You there! You scum! You've been sitting here night and day for the past 2 weeks, and yet my daughter goes missing, and you have nothing to say." What do you do?
How far are Quintus and I from the tailor?
You're maybe 50 meters away. You can hear what he's saying, and you can see the expression on Leah and Tados' faces.
For now, I think I would just want to listen and sort of uncover or understand exactly what's about to happen. So I sort of stand back and listen.
Where are we standing?
I take his lead. Follow his lead.
We are, Tados and Leah, we're pretty close to this beggar, maybe 15 meters away, 10 meters away.
I walk up to Liam Nee, and with a wave of my bone staff, I hum something under my breath and cast a charm person spell on him.
Interesting. I have to make a wisdom save?
Correct.
Okay. I just realized that my dice are in the other room, so I'm going to use my app.
Cheater. That's the way she cheats.
My trick dice are in the other room.
So you're charming him. So I guess he doesn't attack?
You have your INVICTUS is up, eh?
Yeah, I'm gonna use that for Leah so that everyone can see Leah's results.
See.
He rolls a 13.
Which is...
It's gonna be against your spell save DC, which is probably about 13.
Oh, I thought... Okay, yeah, it is a spell. It is a 13.
So he just barely saves, and feeling the spell kind of wash over his body, he sort of turns to you and he's like, "What? What was that?"
Oh, I was just overhearing how you were yelling at this poor man, and
Poor
I couldn't
man?
help.
Poor
Yes.
man?
But I couldn't help but notice you were saying something about your missing child, a son, a daughter.
My
I
daughter.
believe the daughter.
Yes, my daughter, baby Lotus. She's been missing for the past week, and she's just a child.
Lotus.
Now
This-
that
Disheveled creature has been sitting here since weeks ago, doing nothing, just begging for a coin. Must have seen something, and I've asked, and no answer. And he kind of aims a kick at this beggar.
And
now that Tados has sort of talked to him anyway, Graham will approach
and I kind of step in between, and I say to the man, to Liam Nee,
please, let's direct your anger elsewhere. I'm sure this beggar man has very little to offer, and if he does, we will force it out of him. But not right now.
So seeing all of this, Graham sort of walks over and pieces together very quickly, and he says, "Tanos, take this man back to his shop. Don't make him accost him in public. I'll stay out here for a moment." And I sort of give a look to Tados to sort of be like, let's separate, and I'll speak to this guy, and you take that guy somewhere else.
The homeless guy?
Yeah, I'll stay with the homeless guy. You get the tailor out of here, because obviously he's angry.
Please. So continuing, after he says this, I say, "Yes, please. You're upsetting some of the folk out here. Let me go with you. Let's talk about what the problem may be here, fine sir."
And he just starts to kind of cry, like frustrated, and lets you sort of lead him back across the street to where his shop is.
And as he starts to cry, I kind of put an awkwardly, I try to be, empathetic about it, sympathetic to him, and it's just very awkward.
Your claws tear through his clothes.
Yeah, I just kind of like, I have really scaly, and I don't really get the empathy thing, but all the time. But I still try.
I'll be joining Tedros, bringing the man into his house. And
and I'll sort of nod to Leah to come and help me here.
Okay, let's play that out. So Leah and Graham are standing over this thin man. He's elderly. He's kind of besmirched by the street. Definitely hasn't seen a shower in a long time. He's kind of cowering away from what he thought was going to be a kick.
And Graham spent many years with sort of the downtrodden, so instinctively he reaches into his pouch and pulls out a bit of bread and kneels down in front of him and just hands it to him without even saying anything, and says, it's all right, you're amongst friends, let me help you. And he gives him some water after. Does he take the bread?
Thank you, yes.
Of course.
And he does. He takes your water skin and the crust of bread and sort of turns away from you and eats.
And Graham sort of, again, sort of looks to Leah and reaches out to the man and sort of just comforts him and sort of goes to touch his shoulder. And I will sort of do I want to do an insight, I think.
Okay.
Just to sort
what are you trying to determine?
Well, it was obvious that he was sort of perturbed by the man sort of approaching, but I wanted to get a sense of if there's any sort of guilt in sort of the way he's been feeling, his reaction.
Yeah, great.
Which is going to be only a 10.
A 10.
He's clearly very hungry. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just play dumb and sort of looked again to Leah to sort of maybe follow the lead and kind of be like, wow, why did that man come out and accost you in such a way?
Oh, well, you see, not many people look kindly on impoverished elderly folks like me. Can't really contribute much, you understand?
Well, it seemed like he mentioned something about his daughter. He said something along the lines of, you saw, you witnessed, I believe he said something like, you've been sitting here night and day for the past 2 weeks and yet my daughter goes missing and you have nothing to say?
Yes, I have been sitting here.
So it can't purely be. And Graham sort of nods, knowing that this man just lied to his face because he heard it, and says, so obviously it's not as simple as someone just looking down on you. I'm not against you, friend. If you know anything, let me help you. And I'll use a persuasion roll to sort of call his bluff first and foremost, to be like, look, fucking, I just saw this. And then to sort of be like... But,
sorry, what are you calling his bluff on?
The fact that he said... Because I asked why this man accosted him, and he said, because I'm homeless, when it was very clear that the man said, you saw my daughter. So I'm figuring that he's playing dumb.
Okay.
Right? That is what I just saw. But that is what the tailor said, no?
I mean, he didn't disagree about that. He just also was giving you... Anyway,
Oh,
you
okay,
can roll
fair
a
enough.
persuasion.
No, fair enough. Then I took the wrong out of it. I thought he was sort of playing coy, being like, well, you know, people don't like homeless people. I figured he was trying to hide it. But okay, so then I'll push for the girl and say, what about the daughter? Does this man think that you know?
Are you going to roll?
No, I'll just ask then. I thought he was like trying to bluff me.
Oh, I see. So, I'm sorry, ask me again?
What about this daughter? The man that accosted you, he mentioned something about his daughter. Do you know anything?
Well, knowing something, that's, oh, well, how do you know anything, really? I know a great many things, but I don't know whether you can indeed trust your own eyes until it happens in front of you, you know.
And I look to Leah. Can she roll insight on him or something? I want to know if he's senile or purposely playing aloof.
Yeah, Leah's gonna roll.
I basically would just look at her and be like, "What the fuck is?"
Yeah, Leah will roll insight on this man. She kind of is standing behind you, Graham, and sort of pulls at the sleeve of your cloak. Graham, I don't know. What's your name, sir? And he says, Chris Kane. It's nice to meet you. Thank you for the bread, young man.
Young man? I have been called a young man in many a year.
And yet you are many decades younger than I.
Listen, I want to help you. You are hungry. I have more bread. And I reach in again and I give him a bread. And as I give him that, in his other hand, I sort of take it and I place a silver coin in his palm and I close it around it. But I sort of do it a bit, I want to do it quietly. I don't mind if Leah sees, but I don't really want other people to know that I've given him money.
Mm-hmm.
Just because
He's holding both of these things without really doing anything with them at this point, and he says, "Sit here beside me."
And I do. Again,
and it's like
comfortably so.
gross. The street is
not
clean.
I think when it comes to this type of person, again, Graham being a churchgoer is very used to like sort of sitting with people like this and like comforting the dying and comforting the sick, and it's never bothered him about, you know, germs and coughing and anything like that. So he sort of sits right next to him, right in the muck.
And Leah sort of just like squats down on the other side. She's not like putting her butt on the ground, but she's like, you know, keeping you two company. And the beggar gestures across the road with like a shaky hand. "You see there?" And he's pointing directly at the door of the tailor's house.
Yes, of course. What about it?
It's a problem with sight, you know. Sometimes you see things and you need to make sure. And so you wait, and then maybe they happen, and maybe they don't.
Friend, did you see something? Something that this tailor speaks of? Something about his missing daughter?
Yes. But not with my eyes, son. No.
What did you see it with?
In my dreams. Let's go into the tailor's house. So we have Liam Nee, who's being sort of guided gently by the shoulders and awkwardly by Tados. And Quintus is also coming along with.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So the inside of the shop is dark, and it's noon, so it's kind of strange, and it's in a little bit of a disarray. And the man is like, I don't know. Who are you?
I want to
Hey,
make
well-
a note. Just that
What's
the
up?
door stays open as we enter. So the front door is open.
Yeah.
We give him an escape if he is feeling uncomfortable.
So the light is sort of streaming into this shop, and there's like a big low counter that's covered in bolts of fabric and big scissors, and there's more like rolls of fabric on the walls and like different, examples of cuts of garments and some mannequins and that sort of thing. But it looks like this shop has not been used for work in a couple of days at least.
I say, you said your name was Liam, Mr. Liam Nee, correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yes, I'm sorry.
I know, it's all right. Please take a seat right here. Let's calm down. Can I make you some tea? Is that all right? I see you've got some hot coals on the fire still, I think. No? No, I guess not. I'll have to heat something up.
No, it's fine. I couldn't possibly drink anything right now.
All right.
Listen, Mr. Nee.
Yes.
We are part of a group that has been known as the Undefeated. We are simply going from town to town, trying to get to the bottom of a greater issue. However, with that being said, we find that perhaps your issue somehow relates into a bigger issue, and so we'd like to probe you for some questions, if you may.
We would like to help you find your daughter, sir.
Well, I
Yes.
like that very much. Thank you. I think, though, and he's like wiping his eyes, that we should talk to that lousy beggar outside. He won't give me any answers.
We have people talking to him as we speak.
That's
For now,
right.
we need to just sit down, relax, and maybe if you would be willing to answer a few questions that we might have for you, that just so that we can have a better idea of what the exact situation is. We
Of
just
course.
arrived in town yesterday.
Of course. And he draws up a couple of chairs, and we all sit. He's
That's
sort of
right.
like grabs just like some like random cloth and is like wiping his face.
Tell me, when was the last time you saw your daughter?
She disappeared. She disappeared right out from underneath me. She's 6 days old.
6 days?
old.
Yes, my infant.
Yes.
Was it
And-
nighttime when she went missing? When did you realize that she was gone?
Yes, nighttime. First thing in the morning. So, I'm sorry. I live upstairs with my other two daughters. And my parents. They take care of the girls while I'm down here working, and
And the mother?
oh, no, I'm a single father.
But where's the mother?
Of Lotus. She died in childbirth.
Oh.
A woman in a hunting party bound through town about a month ago. My other daughters also adopted.
Your other daughters and your parents, where are they now?
They're upstairs with the girls. I haven't been a good father the past week. I'm too distraught.
So, to get this
Don't
straight,
say
your
that.
your 6-day-old daughter went missing over a week ago?
Yes.
And do you think that... No, you said the mother had passed. I'm very sorry again.
That's all right.
Now, why do you believe it was the beggar? Clearly he does not have your child.
No, but he was there. He hasn't moved in weeks. He would have seen something.
Perhaps he did. But still, we want to figure out what you know, all right? And we do not know whether or not, or Denny know, rather, whether this homeless person did anything. But what you know is most important right now. Was there any
Yes.
disturbance in the room? Could you tell if anything was knocked over or a sign of breaking and entering?
Nothing. That was a strange thing. The door is locked, the window shut. The girls were asleep. No
Wait.
evidence.
Hold on,
And-
you say that the door was locked and the baby was gone? When you came to it, the door was locked?
Yes.
Now,
I exchange a look with Taros.
As I look at Quintus and then turn back, and I walk the perimeter of the room.
What what kind of windows are there? Are there windows?
Yeah, there are two front windows. They're shuttered right now, wooden shutters over them. The only light that's coming into the room is from the doorway that's open, and there's a kind of a guttering candle just on one of the shelves.
And the two windows that are at the front of the house, they face to the street.
Yep.
And there's a set of stairs, and no windows at the back of the house.
You can't really see. It's there's a door that leads, you would assume, to kind of a storeroom, and then probably staircase up from there. It's like a 2-story, like a townhouse type building. There's like houses on the other side as well.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Nee. Tell me, you said she disappeared from your arms.
Well, no, she was in her cradle.
Oh. And you had fallen asleep?
Yes.
Presumably.
Yes.
Yes. I don't blame you. It can be very tiring raising a little one. From what I understand, I have none of my own.
It's exhausting, but I miss her so badly.
I can definitely understand that. The door was locked, though. Were you in the same room when it happened?
No, I share a second bedroom with my parents.
Right.
And she was upstairs with you?
Yes. The bedrooms are just upstairs.
Is there another exit besides this front door?
Yes, there's a back door, but it wasn't opened either.
Tell me, take me to it, will you?
Yes. And he takes the candle off of the shelf and goes through the back door. There's it's kind of musty back here, but it's in less of a disarray than the front room. Kind of orderly bolts of fabric, things that are, half finished. And then there's no windows in this back wall. There's a staircase going up and a back door with a heavy bolt on it, wooden bolt that just kind of latches into place.
Nobody would be picking locks here.
No, certainly not. Though I do inspect the door very closely for any signs of tampering.
Yeah, roll investigation.
Investigation.
Whoa.
Tad does learn when he just rolled a 20.
Fuck yeah.
Natural?
Natural.
Natty
Fuck
20.
yeah.
Well done. Tados,
I
as
should've
you
been more
investigate
excited.
this door, you note only the signs of normal wear and tear.
You find the baby. It's just hidden under it. You're done. Natural
It's
20.
in the
Here's
door.
your baby!
Oh, you left her under the sink.
Door.
Is this your baby?
Yeah, so you don't see anything out of the ordinary really in this whole room.
And opening up the door and looking out the back.
Yeah, it's
do I
got
see?
kind of like a dingy back courtyard garden. It's not walled. It's shared with other houses nearby. Nothing really notable. There's a small tree.
Mr. Nee, if you do not mind, would we be able to look in the baby's bedroom and investigate there a little bit?
Yeah, I suppose. I
Alright.
looked everywhere, I promise.
I can understand that. Of course you did. You did the best you could. All right. Where are we going here?
So he leads you upstairs. He shows you a precursory kind of glance into his bedroom where his parents are taking care of their grandchildren. They're sort of occupied with some kids' activities. They might be teaching them, doing some rudimentary homeschooling, a little bit of letters learning. And in the front room, there is 2 small beds, a little crib, and then the front window.
So
So the 2 small beds are in the same room as the crib.
Yeah, and as you look at the window, you see Graham and Leah sitting on either side of this beggar. Why don't we hop back over to the beggar?
What do you mean you see but not with your eyes?
I'll tell you, son. Not because of this bread and the coin, though. I am always happy when someone shows me some kindness, of course, being a beggar and old as I am. But I have a tendency to sometimes prescience, you know this word? To know
Prescience?
things before they occur.
Like a premonition.
Yes, it comes to me in the night. When I was a young boy, I was chased from my village for these terrible visions. And it led me to a life of hardship. The things that I see, they are only ever evil. And I had to learn along the way a lot about what that means for me and what I see and what is in my head and heart. And yet, when I make a journey and I find a place and I recognize it, I know that if I wait, I will see this come to pass, and I will know I'm not crazy.
So you had a vision of the child being stolen before she was taken?
Yes, I saw this Mr. Nee. He's a very sad man.
Yes, of course. What did the vision show you, and was it different than what you actually saw?
Well, I saw the beautiful baby daughter, a flower in a swaddled cloth. I don't know what kind of a man you are, Mr. Graham, but it is not a pretty vision.
You can tell me.
She's no longer with us.
She's dead.
Yes,
How did she die?
she was consumed
By what?
by the creature what took her.
What creature was that?
I don't know, but it lives not far.
What did the creature look like?
I couldn't tell you.
Could you
No.
tell? What did
It
you
was some movement in the air.
Movement in the air. What do you mean?
Yes, some disturbance. Not a physical being that took this baby.
You think it was some sort of... And I'm looking at Leah sort of nervously, again, remembering the succubus that we had nearly died at the hands of in the previous town. Sort of, he's reliving the ignorance in which they sort of befell into that situation, and sort of nervously looks to her and says, this vision you had, you said you saw the baby wrapped, and it was dead, consumed by this creature, and this creature was not of physical form. It was, what, a spirit, or?
Something.
Could it pass through walls? Could you see through it?
No. Sorry, just give me 1 second.
That's fine. And I look towards the house, and I sort of look through the open window, and I sort of look up towards the two of you moving in the room. And
as you look into the window, Tados is licking the glass of the window and smelling it, and then licking the glass some more. And you look up at the window, you just see Tados licking the glass.
And I turn back to the man, like shaking that vision out of my head, and I say, could you see through this creature? Could you? Was it transparent?
No, Graham, no. This was a feeling. I knew it was an evil presence, and yet it was not. I could not see it. No.
Now this was only.
But you understand, this is a vision.
This was your
is a dream.
premonition.
Yes, the baby.
And what did you?
She went into the swamp.
And what did you actually see with your eyes sitting here in the days before this last week?
Nothing. I did not tell a lie to Mr. Lee, and nothing I could say would help his child.
So how, with you not moving here, would a creature be able to take the child from that house without you seeing?
Because there was nothing to see, Graham.
But even the creature, the child itself was physical, was it not? It must have had to leave the house in some form.
Maybe. I am not a learned man. All I know is that the thing I saw has come to pass, and I will leave this town again. And
was the vision that you had? You said you've had these before, and that you would wait to see if they came to fruition.
Yes.
Did this vision have a timeline? You've experienced this before. Do you believe the child is already consumed?
Oh, yes. Yes. And as we question the beggar, Criskin, and as Tados and Quintus stare out the window at the street where we are sitting, they see something happening in the river beyond the trading post. Beyond the Central Exchange, where the shop boats are tied up and selling lunch to the people who work at Central Exchange, there's a strange swell of water. Tados, you see shapes in the river. And they're large.
There, Mr. Nee. What is that?
And I point out the window, and I grab the back of his head, and I kind of force it out, to look where I'm looking.
There, shapes in the water. You've seen them before, yes?
What? No. What is that? And as you watch, this 10-foot long, green-brown, shiny creature with like chitinous skin crawls onto a boat and skewers someone with one of his arms.
Immediately take my spear off of my back and I say, "Lock your doors, protect your children," and I run down the stairs into the street.
Amazing.
Graham, we've got a problem.
Yeah, I would have heard it, the screaming.
We definitely
from behind
hear
me.
the roiling of the water. Everyone roll initiative for me. Getting some combat.
Damn, right is the question. So 16 plus...
11.
11 for Quintus.
18 for me.
A 15 for me.
18, a 15. We've got to run.
15 for Tados. And Leah rolled a hot 9.
Hot 9.
And what are our monsters looking at?
Are you calling us monsters?
Monsters?
Yep.
What are our monsters looking at?
I'm looking at
Graham, it is your turn.
Oh, god damn it. So how far is this creature from me?
So we are sitting kind of near to the corner of the Central Exchange.
Okay.
Facing the road, which is across the street from the tailors.
Right.
The Central Exchange is built on the docks on this river bank. And so we're maybe, I don't know, 45 feet from the riverbank, but around the corner. So you can't actually see what's happening. You just hear kind of a lot of splashing. Yeah, that. Absolutely. And you hear people starting to scream. One person clearly in a lot of pain.
Can I, is there enough space, or should I say, how far am I from the corner that I can run around and attack, or can I just run around it and see? Or
You're like
how...
10 feet from the corner of the building, and you're about 45 feet from the river.
Okay, so I'm going to run to the corner of the building and sort of see what I can see. And I see the creature now?
Yeah.
Do I recognize it?
Why don't you roll a nature check?
Sure.
Nature check. Roll that nature check.
All right, which was just a 9.
You don't know what this is.
What the
You don't know what it
By
is.
Alistair's Fire. Okay,
Alistair's
soundtrack. By Alistair's Fire. What is this creature?
It's like got a segmented body, mandibles. It's got bulbous yellow compound eyes.
Oh my god, let's get some fucking lemon butter going. I'm going to...
Oh, how big is it?
It's about 10 feet long, the one that's crawling onto the deck of this shop boat.
Can I just attack it? Like, how far am I? You said 45 feet from where it now?
Yeah, so your maximum speed, I believe, is 30 feet.
Okay.
And if you wanted to do nothing else but move, you could double that in your round.
I want to move a total of, if it was 10 and 45, that's 55 feet away.
Yep.
That leaves 25 feet. So I'm going to go as close as I can in one movement. I'll spend my action attacking.
Great.
So I'm going to cast Guiding Bolt. Get that to the right.
Yep.
And my sheets are out of order. Damn. Crap.
Damn and crap, both.
Damn crap.
Damn
Guiding
and
bolt.
crap.
Guiding Bolt.
Our package deal.
Oh shit. Where the fuck is this? I didn't plan ahead. Go to
Just
the next
Google
person.
Guiding Bolt 5e.
I have it right here. You can go to the next person.
Well,
Oh,
it's going to be Tados.
Okay, Tados, go while I'm just gonna be rolling damage anyway, so.
You're going to roll to hit probably
Or
first.
roll to hit, sorry, that's right.
Well, I follow Quintus down the stairs. He's got his spear drawn, and I'm following close behind. But I dodge and go around the corner of the building and make my way right down to the riverbank. So I'm directly, basically at the river's edge.
I will say you can get there with all of your movement and perceive the full scene, but have no action left because you guys were like in the building across the street.
Okay, let me get as close as I can while leaving myself enough to at least cast thaumaturgy. Is that
that's an action.
possible?
Yeah, so you can get to like right at the corner of the building.
Yeah.
So like 40 feet, 5 feet away from the riverbank.
Okay, perfect.
So you can be like 10 feet away from Leah, 10 feet away from the beggar, sort of just, you can see Graham, you can see what's happening in the river now, but they're still like 45 feet away from you. Well, Graham's 20
And how far away would the beast be then, if the river?
The one that you can see is like 50 feet away.
Okay, so then I'll just run to as far as I can.
Okay, so you can basically be up next to Graham with your turn.
Okay.
Ooh, let's kiss.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you guys are standing shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, and I found my
Graham.
attack.
Graham, what happened on your turn as Tados is striding up to meet you?
So I rolled
you
an-
let loose a bolt of
Yes, so an 18 plus 5 to hit, so 23.
Marvelous. You do.
Perfect.
But what's
And,
your range?
on the Guiding Bolt? Oh shit.
Yeah.
It is 120 feet.
Oh
Nicely
wow.
done.
Okay.
So
hit it.
yeah, so it's going to be 4d6 radiant damage. Don't think radiant would be very good for this creature, but whatever. 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's it. 8 damage, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to say, and then it gives the next attack roll on the target advantage because of the radiance.
Great.
So next person who
Advantage.
attacks on it gets advantage. That's why I did it. I remember now. Okay.
Let's not forget.
I am going to endeavor to remember. So as Tados runs up beside Graham, Graham lets loose this crazy bolt of light. And this
Gotta make
creature, it looks, I don't know if you guys know what like a dragonfly nymph looks like.
Yes.
It looks
No.
kind of like that, but 10 feet long. So its mandibles gnash, and it was about to like take the head off of this patron of the shop boat, who's like got a sandwich dangling from one of his arms, but instead the creature just kind of like shakes the body away and like turns towards Graham, and it's gonna try to spit acid at you.
Did it look like it was affected at all by my hit?
Yeah, that's why it is excited about hurting you.
Okay. Well, I didn't know if it was just like bounce off or like the radiance seemed to be like.
Yeah.
What is
And,
radiance, by the way? Just as I don't like. Is it?
It's
like
like
light?
divine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Oh,
really,
yeah,
it's really affected the succubus. I'm trying to do it in a non-meta way to understand how Graham would sort of see it. So.
Yeah, check out what Alex has going on.
Here's your beast.
Oh, I don't like that. That's gross.
Let's
Let's
squish this describe it good?
bug. You described it so good.
But it's spooky and big.
Super spooky, and it's going, ooh.
Not like that.
Well, that's spooky.
So the creature sort of like, how do I explain it? Like
Scuttles?
scampers down off of the boat and directly into the water, and then it's coming up on the riverbank. So it's like whole head, and it's like insect shoulders emerge, but it's still like, yes, just like that.
Oh, I don't like that.
And it's like
getting the heebie-jeebies.
I don't like it.
its head is like 2 feet across, and it spits acid towards Graham.
2 foot head. 2
And
foot head. Acid spit at Graham.
it misses. You are very lucky.
Thank God.
Okay,
Now I'm just
I'm
assuming
very
we
sad
still have our
about that.
spells set. Why are you sad about not hitting me?
because I wanted it to murder you.
No, that's not nice. That's not.
She's
no.
the bad guy. She's not Leah.
What were you asking about
DM.
spells?
I was just gonna ask. I'm assuming we have to be using the same ones from last game.
You do,
But you-
because you would have prepared your
That's
spells
what I'm
this
doing.
morning.
I'm lucky that I had guiding bolt because most of the other ones were not.
Not related to combat.
Sadly.
Okay, so unfortunately, there are more than one of these creatures. So there's another creature that sort of its back like crests the water menacingly, like a killer whale, and
Or
it
shark.
uses its turn to also move up towards the riverbank with its friend. So you have 2 dudes that are kind of 15, 20 feet away from you. And it just kind of. What was that sound that you made, Alex?
Wow. High quality sound effects.
Yeah. I'll be around all night.
screech wildly?
Yeah, it is Quintus's turn.
All right, so seeing Taros run up next to Graham, I've been taking this time to look around and take in my surroundings a little bit. And this town, it's so we are, I guess, like there's the riverbank, and then there's what like a block of houses along the riverbank, kind of, then a street, then another block of houses, and then maybe where I am. That's what I'm picturing.
So basically, what I'm seeing is there's kind of a big warehouse, which is like the central hub for trade that's like indoors. And then there's like a 10-foot street or so. Across the street, that's where the tailor's house is, and there's some other little shops. And then that's where you are.
I see. And the warehouse.
Yes.
I think
Justin just cut right out.
I was just
Sorry.
saying, do you have
Oh,
a
no.
question there, Justin?
Am I still going?
You
Yeah,
said
you're
the
good.
warehouse, and then we were left-
All right. The warehouse, I look at it and I see there is a big crane that they use for lifting shipping crates.
Yep.
And it's pretty much right over the combat area, is it not?
Yep.
About 15 feet up or so.
Absolutely.
All right. So I run towards the side of the building, and I've been climbing up one of the sides of it.
Mhm.
That has handholds. I imagine they'd have some sort of ladder to get up onto the roof.
Yeah, totally.
Fire.
So you can get up there with your movement and your action, I would say. So get into position this time around.
I get up and I get an aerial view of the combat area.
You see with your elven eyes that there is yet another dark form underneath the water, sort of like off downstream from where the combat is happening.
About as big as the other ones?
Yeah, about that big.
All right.
It's just kind of swimming around right now.
There's another one! Keep your eyes open.
Okay, it is Leah's turn. She is going to... Oh, man. She's going to use a bonus action to activate her blade song, which means she's going to sort of shing, pull out her scimitar, and she's surrounded by this like blue light. She does some sort of strange yodeling that I have yet to fully decide for myself. It's like a sea halfling. yodel. Yeah, it's like yabba 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 yabba. And she's going to, I guess, rush this creature.
Rush it.
Yeah, why not?
As
So
the
she's
immigrant
going
song
to...
plays, she runs through.
What was that?
The immigrant song.
Zeppelin?
Yeah. I just picture Leah being like a total badass, like running through this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come to the
So-
land of the ice and snow.
She's going to make an attack roll against the first guy that spat acid at Graham. And she hits it. And she's also going to use that attack to both deal damage and also cast Booming Blade against this creature. So
Jesus. It's almost like you knew this attack was coming and you prepared your most powerful spell. or
minimum
something.
damage. So it takes... No, that's actually a cantrip. I could just
Oh.
cast that all day long.
Oh, right. You can do cantrips.
So
all
it
day
takes
long.
4 damage, slashing damage, and it is surrounded by booming energy, which I will also say is kind of like a blue, watery looking thing, just because of the way that Leah is like skinned. So if the target willingly moves before the end of my next turn, it's going to take damage. And then she goes, "These fuckers are really big up close!" Graham, it's your turn.
I guess I will probably attack it again. I mean, with a creature like this, there's no sort of talking. They just came out of the water, right?
Yeah, they're like...
Yeah.
I mean, clearly one of them tried to eat somebody. That person is like bleeding out in the water.
But maybe they're
Nope.
just hungry. Maybe I should try an animal handling roll. Be like,
Before
creatures.
we get into the next round, I'd just like to say that if you would like to spend experience points, if you're watching this,
Good call. Whoa.
you can spend 1 XP, one of your Invictus XP, to grant one of us an inspiration point.
Yes.
And that allow us to roll again or whatever.
Fuck.
What is our inspiration situation right now, by the way?
I'm
you
inspired.
Are you inspired? You should have that marked down on your sheet if you have that.
Kidding.
Oh, okay.
I just mean like I'm inspired meta.
I don't
Oh, I
think I don't remember ever getting inspiration.
Yeah, you did by the community, definitely. The sprites also had inspiration that I think Dustin carried over to someone else. Dustin, if you want to use that inspiration, I don't know if the sprites ever used that.
I guess Joe never gave me inspiration, despite all of the fantastic acting we've done.
So we're not. So I know that in the regular D&D that doesn't have people watching that can spend experience points. You get inspiration for like completing milestones and stuff like that, right?
You can award inspiration as you will as a DM, either for interesting role playing, or for cool solutions to problems, or for like brave actions. You can sort of campaign. You can be like, so if do you think that deserves inspiration? You know, kind of remind me.
So we need to campaign more.
Will do.
Speaking
I
of,
Campaign.
we
We're
totally
gonna
forgot.
campaign this campaign.
You
Yeah.
know what, Justin? I'm going to give you inspiration for using the terrain in an interesting way. For inventing a crane that definitely is there. So you can roll 2d20s instead of 1d20 whenever you would normally make a attack roll or a skill
Beautiful.
check.
I'm glad I brought it up.
Yeah, you have to choose to use that inspiration before you roll, as opposed to like bardic inspiration, where you can choose to apply that afterwards.
I was also going to say we forgot to roll with advantage on the attack after mine. After we like just said.
Yeah, shit.
It's like literally just we were like, oh, we gotta remember that. Totally forgot.
I hit it, so. Meh.
Yeah.
Graham, it's
20
your
though.
turn.
Yes, I know. I'm going to attack it again then. I will get to it's. You said it's in front of me. How far did it spit?
It spat at you. You just kind of dodged it.
Yeah. Sorry, is it 10 feet from me? 15 feet from me?
It's like 20 feet from you.
Okay, I think I might cast and then I'll run around the corner to get to some sort of cover.
Okay.
Because I don't want to die. And you were very happy to try to kill me.
Don't die, Graham. Don't die.
I'll do what I want to do.
William wants to spend an XP.
Oh.
he did.
Oh, 9.
try.
to
William,
hit.
let us know who you want to give it to. It's only 9 to hit with all of your... What do you attack are you using?
I'm using the radiant one again.
Is
Or
that
sorry, guiding bolt, which is one action, a flash of light streaks towards casting time. Is it? I do have to roll for that. I'm assuming.
Is that a first level spell?
Yeah.
Okay. You have
First level evocation.
limited numbers of those, right?
Yeah. I know.
Yeah. So you have to roll to hit, and
Yeah,
your
ranged spell attack, which I did not.
Yeah. So you rolled a
A
4.
4 plus 5, so 9.
Yeah, you don't hit.
That's
Sorry.
okay. I run around the corner and can I take the advantage because no one took it?
Well, you already rolled is the thing.
Yeah. Well, I thought advantage you just roll 2 and take the higher of the 2.
Yeah. So you already rolled.
Right, but rolling one more would be no different, wouldn't it?
Because then you can be like, oh, I succeeded on that one. Well, I'm not using inspiration. The whole point is that you're like, okay, this is an important thing.
No, sorry, not for the inspiration. I meant because I attacked Radiance, and it granted a bonus to the next, an advantage
That we
to the
didn't
next attack
use?
that we didn't use. Can I use
Okay,
it?
it would have gone away with my attack, but I'll give you that this time.
Yay! And it might not work anyway.
Okay, roll
Look,
again.
7 plus 5, so 12.
12? No, you don't hit it.
Perfect. So then I'll run around the corner.
Okay. Tados.
So my question is, because I haven't gone since he cast his guiding bolt, do I get to roll advantage?
No.
It only goes the next
The next
person that
attack.
attacks?
Yes, which
Okay.
should have been Leah, but wasn't, so now it's fine. No, you don't.
Okay. Then I quit. No, I'm kidding.
Bye!
Tim is giving you his XP, the experience, the
Alex, you get inspiration.
Okay, thank you. From
Thank you,
William?
from William. William Miller. Miller. Outstanding Miller.
I knew you'd give that to me.
Miller! Outstanding!
I am going to. Can I cast a cantrip as well as do my action, or is that one?
A cantrip
thing?
is an action if the casting time is 1 action. So you get to move, and then you can do an action if you like, or your actions can be like dash, hide, disengage. You can help someone with your action. You can interact with an object.
No, I'm going to attack this creature with my crossbow.
Cool.
But I don't know how close I need to be for that.
What's the range on that?
I don't have it written down here.
Your range on your crossbow is 80 feet without penalty. So
On my
yes.
Crossbow. It's 80 feet. I'm gonna put that down here. 80-foot.
I think you just
You
muted
just
yourself.
Nothing to complain.
Only because I was typing at the same time. Okay, so then using advantage, right?
So roll 2 d20s and take the higher number.
Here we go. Bang! 19 plus
Nicely done.
plus an attack bonus of 3. Is that what I'm reading correctly?
It would be your. Are you proficient in crossbows? Probably.
I just have an attack bonus of 3. That's
What's your
what I have written.
dexterity bonus?
3. No. Dexterity is 1.
Yeah. So you'd add 3. So you have a 22 to hit, which hits.
Excellent.
Now you have to roll damage.
1d8 plus 1 pierce.
1d8 plus 1 pierce.
It's a 2, 3. 3
All right.
damage. 2 damage plus 1 pierce.
Amazing. So the creature gets hit in the neck. Do insects have necks? Not that it's an insect, but
No,
This one
they
does.
don't.
this
But
one
it's
does.
The
yeah,
thorax.
okay. Exactly.
But it's right up against Leah, so it's going to try to bite her.
Take that.
I holler.
Yeah, it's gonna try to bite her with its mandibles, and it misses.
Watch out, Leah.
It bites like above her head, where like her head would be if she was a normal sized humanoid. But
Are you
Wow.
disappointed with that as well?
no, I'm not.
So you were disappointed when it doesn't kill me, but when it doesn't kill your own character, then that's a good
That's right.
thing.
Yep.
It's,
Yeah.
it's a complicated relationship.
This second like giant nymph that's now crawled out of the water beside its brother, tries to spit acid at Tados, and does a
Meanwhile, they're like,
Oh, do you want a snack, brother? Oh, I'd love a snack.
does a 13 hit your AC? Alex?
And he muted himself again. He needs
Yeah.
to get back. He needs to get back into character.
I was blowing my nose. AC a 13?
Yeah.
No, I have a 14.
Amazing. So I don't know. You just hop, skip, and
The
jump.
acid spits over his shoulder and it hits
Yeah.
the wall of the building and it sizzles.
And speckles of it hit my hardened skin, and just because the diluted serum mixed with too much air, it doesn't do anything. Ha ha! And the rest of it does hit the wall behind me and puts a big hole in it.
Nice, and it smells really rancid. Quintus, it's your turn.
I love
Which was the one that got hit with the arrow that Tados just did?
There's one that has been injured, and there's one that's uninjured. So the uninjured one just spat acid.
And then there's one still floating around in the water.
Yeah,
No,
it seems
that's-
to be sort of terrorizing boats by itself. It's not really that interested in what you guys are up to yet.
And there's people in those boats?
Mm-hmm.
Just, you shouldn't have gone out today. And I turn towards the one, and there's one right underneath. Can we say that there's one right underneath the crane? Like
Sure.
where? Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Like there's a bit of a jump. There's a bit of a jump.
Oh, yeah,
But-
you're, like, how high are you up? You're maybe, like, 25 feet off the ground right now?
25 feet? Yeah, I guess it's a
Yeah.
high warehouse.
Yeah.
All right. This may be the stupidest thing I've ever done, but it sounds like a good idea up
Are
here.
you gonna jump off?
I'm gonna jump freaking off, holding
Okay.
Drew Allen in my hand, going for glory and honor.
Can I
I'm
say
going
for the
to
record
try-
that's a bad
I'm-
idea.
I'm trying to land on the.
I just want the record to
so
show.
it'll crash, so it'll
Terrible idea.
dampen my fall.
Okay, I want you to make a very important acrobatics check for me, please.
Very bad. idea.
Acrobatics or athletics?
It depends how you're jumping.
I'm jumping very athletically.
Okay, you can do that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can. I'm just pure brawn, just
Okay,
like a Spartan.
great. Like a
All right, I'm going to
spy.
use my inspiration here.
Good idea.
Yeah.
I believe this. All right, let's do this. Ooh, 18 plus 5, which is 23.
All right, you are only going to take, I'll say, 1d6 falling damage,
All right.
which
But
is 1.
do I get to give any extra falling damage to the creature that I'm falling on?
Yeah, you can. Let's do an extra 1d6. We're totally just playing jazz right now, by the way. None of this is
we?
official D&D rules.
Yeah, you take like 1d6 for every 10 feet you're supposed to fall or something like that.
Yeah, it's not great.
So you take like 2d6 just from trying to attack this guy.
Yeah, but here at the Invictus stream, we like to make
That
shit.
is something
He
for it
did
if
a
you
very great athletics check, though.
Oh, for sure.
So
I just
go
know
ahead
that-
and make an attack roll.
All right. So I guess I don't get to do inspiration for this.
No, sir.
Ooh, but I still get. So my magic spear, Drew Allen, is that a +1 to attack or a +1 to damage?
Both.
Both. All right. That's nice. So I got the 21 to hit.
You hit it.
All right. So I come slamming down, and remind me, am I doing damage to him?
Yeah, so roll your
Like
normal
falling
damage, and I said give one of those 1d6 falling damage die to whatever you're rolling for damage.
Beauty. All right. So I rolled 2 4s, and I got an extra +6 to that. So I did 14 damage.
Fuck yeah. You sort of like stab your spear into a gap in kind of its plate armor where the chitinous skin seems kind of thin, and a bunch of like dark green ooze like just spurts out. It looks like it is kind of on its last legs. Like one of its legs starts twitching really bad, and it's like trying to look back at you because you're like standing on its back.
And I'm holding on to it. I'm holding on. I say, kill it! Kill the beast!
It's Leah's turn. She's like, okay, okay. And she's gonna swing at it with her scimitar. And she hits it. Just
All right.
barely. She's going to deal 6 damage to it, and it's still just barely kicking. So she's like hacking at its eye, and she's cast Booming Blade again, so it still cannot move. Graham, it's your turn.
So Graham's sort of fallen back a bit, and he's not panicking, but he's scared. These are massive creatures, and they haven't dealt with anything like this yet. And he sort of looks around the corner, and I want to roll perception on the scene that they've sort of come to. You said that it popped out and attacked a man, right?
Yeah, it sort of like crawled out of the water up onto the bow of this boat.
Okay, so with a 17, I want to just survey the scene and try to discern in very short time maybe why they're attacking. Do they look hungry? Is he eating the man? Did he just cut off his head and then move on? Like, does it look like maybe something was disturbing the water? Because obviously this is a shopping area. These boats have been here for ever. So I'm trying to just very quickly, I don't want to, I still want to do something else in this turn, but I just wanted to see if I can sort of survey very quickly and see if I could understand why they might be coming up on land.
Yeah, so the other creature that is menacing the boats that are sort of a little bit farther away from what's happening to the two that are on shore, you see that there's like a shopkeeper for like / sailor for one of the shop boats who's got a harpoon who's like angling to get one of the creatures that's like in the water.
Yeah.
But it seems like that creature has already like pulled part of the sail off of this boat. There's like a bunch of shit in the water. Someone's like sobbing and crying on another one of the boats. Like there's just a lot of chaos happening.
Okay, so I can't quite see what first started it. Okay.
Nothing obvious.
Yeah, and the man that was attacked, his limb was just cut off. He's not being eaten or anything like that.
The man who was attacked initially?
Yeah.
He was like punctured in the chest. Like,
okay, so it was purely
like
an attack.
Floating in the water, like dying.
Right. Okay, because my thinking was sort of like if they were like looking for food, I would try to like blow up a barrel of like fish or something like that, just to like distract them and try to get into the water. And I think I might try that anyway, actually. Okay. Just because, why the fuck not? So I will cast.
Do it.
You cast Barrel of Fish.
I will cast Barrel of Fish. No, I guess I'll do Guiding Bolt because I don't really, because Sacred Flame I don't think is it would be a dexterity check, which I don't understand how that would work on a barrel of fish for an attack. Right? Or would it work automatically? Because what are you
intending to do?
To cast a bolt on a barrel of fish near the waterfront. Because you said there's all these food shops, right? You said some guy was eating a sandwich. So I want to like spot a barrel of some sort of food that's near the water and blow it up in order to sort of hopefully maybe appeal to the creatures to turn around and head back to the water.
Okay, a lot of the boats have food on them.
Yeah. I just don't want to blow it up with people. I just want to blow up some sort of... With my perception of 17, maybe do I see like a big barrel of like stinky fish heads floating, maybe use as chum or something?
Absolutely. No, there's a big barrel that says stinky fish heads right on it.
Yes, and then in brackets, chum or something.
Yeah.
As described by... Perfect. I'm going to blow that shit up.
Acme.
Yeah, Acme fish head chum.
Great.
Acme chum or something.
Do it.
Perfect. So I just want to know if Sacred Flame is a guided attack or what. I don't understand that one.
You said Sacred Flame is a dexterity save?
Yeah.
Well, a barrel doesn't have a dexterity, so you're just going to get to hit it.
That was my logic. Perfect. Yeah. So I'm going to blow it up.
You're also going to like nicely toast the fish heads, which is kind of a bonus.
It would actually have a little bit of smoke in the air.
Appetizing.
Perfect. So it does 1d8 radiant damage. Do I need to roll on a fish?
No, the barrel blows up. Tell me what happens to the barrel.
Perfect. So Graham peeks out and takes a quick survey, and he spots the barrel and sees that the creatures are attacking the land. So he leans out and casts Sacred Flame on it, and a fiery spike sears across the land, stirring dust as it does, and it smacks against the barrel, sending flaming fish heads into the air and peppering the front of the water with sort of a soft as they all sort of immediately cover the surface of the water with an oily, fishy residue. Mm-hmm. And that's what happens.
Okay.
The air immediately smells like toasted fish.
Awesome. We will see what happens about that on the creature's turns.
For sure.
Because right now it's time for Tados to act. So Tados, you just sort of danced away from some acid. From the corner of your eye, you see a crazy fast shape coming from the sky as Quintus lands on this creature's back and stabs it, and guts are going everywhere, and Leah's like hacking at its eye, and the second guy is like untouched, just like beside it, and Graham makes fish confetti happen. What do you do?
I suppose from where I'm standing, I'm just gonna shoot my crossbow again, and I would really love to, if you'll allow me, use both my crossbow in this round, but also thaumaturgy. Or is that 2 actions?
It's
and
2
not a lot?
actions. What do you want to use thaumaturgy for?
I want to yell. I like yelling at these
You can
creatures.
still
You
just
can
yell.
Ow.
You don't have
But
to
not
do
using the booming thaumaturgy voice.
Right.
I will attack with my crossbow.
Okay, the one that's almost dead or the brand new one?
The brand new one.
Okay, so make an
I'll
attack roll.
say, you there, vile creature. Time for you now to take this D20 and eat it in your ass with a 12.
I don't understand half what you just said.
It doesn't hit. So the arrow just kind of like ding off of its natural armor.
Go home, Tados, you're drunk. What are you even saying?
But the creature seems kind of like perturbed, and it like skitters back a little bit into the water, and all of a sudden it's like, and sort of turns tail and starts like leaping through this like chum-filled river, and it's like you can see it's like eating this like fish chunks, just like scooping up big mouthfuls with its big mandibles, and it climbs up on the side of a boat and like picks a person up in its mandibles and like dives back off. So
I gave them the taste of blood.
not
And
interested in you.
As it does that, I turn to Graham and I'm like,
I wasn't trying to
Even
kill people.
They must have sensitive asses. Yeah, and so the one that is remaining tries to reach with a claw on its back to dislodge Quintus and can't really get at him. Quintus is like sitting at a very vulnerable spot on the back of this creature's carapace, and so it's just going to try to bite Leah again, the creature that's directly in front of it, and it's like its eyes like getting all mangly, but it does manage to hit her for how much damage?
no.
That's not great. Okay, hold on.
Leah's dead, guys.
2d6.
Did we reset our HP at the top of this game?
We
Yeah.
would have
Wow.
not taken damage since the last time we slept.
Yeah.
So she takes 6 slashing damage
Ouch.
and also 5 acid damage.
Oof.
And she is grappled. So she's like caught up in this creature's mandibles, and it lifts her off of the ground and shakes her around. She's like, "Oh my god!"
Oh my
It is
God.
Quintus's turn. Quintus, you're on the back of this creature, and you see it take a big bite out of Leah. Actually, she's unconscious and dying.
Oh, no.
Really?
Yeah.
So I see that, I say, "Tend to Leah!" And I jump off of the creature, and using my momentum as I'm falling off, I'm holding onto the spear that's still stuck into its neck. And we can just treat this as an attack, but
Yep.
I'm just going to hold onto it and just lever it through the flesh that it's stuck in.
Cool. Go ahead and make an attack.
All right. I will. Oh, I have to open Dice Stream.
Invictus.
Invictus. Right, not Dice Stream. All right, let's
Right.
do this. I got an 11 plus 6 is a 17.
You do hit it. How much
I do.
damage? You could
Hit
kill
it.
it right here.
Let's roll up my D6.
Kill
All right,
it.
that's a 1d6 plus 6, so that's 8 points of damage.
You exactly kill it.
Nice.
Dang.
8 written right
Heaven.
here.
So my spear rips through the chitinous flesh of this nymph beast, and there's resistance, and then it just pops out and into the air, sending a spray of green goo into the air, and the creature scuttles a little bit and begins to spasm as it collapses to the ground. sending dust and dirt into a puff of air right in front of Leah's unconscious corpse.
Yeah, it drops
unconscious
Leah
body.
to the ground, and she, like, her body is kind of like singed and crackling with acid, and she's like bleeding out of her stomach.
Is she at 0 hit points?
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna cast Spare the Dying on her.
Well, it's Leah's turn, so she's...
sorry.
I mean, we can leave combat now if you don't want to continue interacting with the other monsters.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna let them. They went back to the water, right, because of the food.
Yeah, so they're if we're going to just move on to the healing of Leah and dealing with the denouement of this combat, you see the two nymph creatures sort of like steal another human off of a deck and steal like another barrel of rotting fish heads or chum or whatever, and they make it downstream.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm fine with that. And I walk over to Leah, or I run over to Leah, and I sort of like skid to my knees, and I kneel down next to her, and I start whispering under my breath. And I have a cantrip called Spare the Dying, and I just sort of touch her forehead very lightly, and I touch a living creature that has 0 hit points. The creature becomes stable.
Awesome. So she stops bleeding. You notice that her wounds are kind of clotting up, but she's still unconscious.
Yeah. And sadly, I took no healing spells for today because I didn't figure combat.
Nice.
By this point, are the guards showing up?
Yeah, didn't the Chancellor say they have like the best guards too?
Yeah, there's no one around.
Weird.
Well, I'm gonna have a wee conversation with the captain when I get the chance.
Perfect.
You're gonna have to hold me back, Tados.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I don't think we need to hold anyone back. Those guards didn't do their job. And more importantly, Leah had to suffer. And we're going to go there for the mid-game post! After the mid-game post. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the middle of the game. Hope you've been enjoying the game so far. I've been having a right old time. Great game so far, Joe. A lot of fun.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
So the mid-game post. What's the question for this game?
I'm not sure if I should be asking something that's kind of D&D specific, or yeah, let's just go with it. I reskinned a creature that is not necessarily aquatic for those dragonfly nymph creatures that we were just fighting. If anyone knows what creature it is that spits acid, that has a bite attack that is about 10 feet long, and you want to make a guess, what is the creature we were just fighting called?
Good luck.
It's a hard one.
I have no idea.
You know your monster manual.
Yeah. Good luck.
Your monster manual.
I don't even know if that's right. Jeff guessed something.
Every night before bed, you must always read a little bit of the monster manual.
Yes, or else.
Well,
Oh, nice. Okay.
Gygax will get you.
Yeah.
This is fun. I'm so happy to be back into D&D and
Yeah.
D&D.
I'm very proud of you
roles that matter.
for jumping onto that creature and murdering it
I'm proud too.
with your spear.
I'm proud of you too. I mean, I'm proud of me too for blowing up the fish barrel because I thought that was a cool twist too.
That was cool.
It's okay. It's all right. I can proud myself.
Everyone helped.
I
Except
can-
for
That was a-
Leah, really. She was
was a
just
very-
like,
I could be my own pride giver.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job, buddy.
Everybody, that was a very colorful combat. Very vivid, you know?
Yeah.
You could smell the fish.
I could smell the fish.
Yeah, okay, we'll just give it to we have
Well, there's other people. That's not how it works. We wait
I
till
don't
everyone
know.
answers and then we roll. Jinx.
Oh,
The stream. Man, I wish I picked different spells.
What did you pick for the
Well,
day?
I pictured this day would be walking around talking to people because this is the one we woke up. This is the same day we woke up with a woman screaming. So I have bless, detect evil and good, detect magic, purify food and drink, and guiding bolt. I have like a lot of like town spells.
nice. Yeah, I took like mage armor, sleep, fog cloud, unseen servant. Like, do we need a bunch of things carried around?
Those are still way more combat centric than mine. Purify food and
I'm a
drink.
combat mage, though, basically.
I'm a cleric. I should have been. I guess I don't have enough D&D experience to know that you should always have probably 2 at least combat spells. But now I know. Next, I will never wake up another day.
It's really hard when you're so low level. Like, you need to make those hard decisions.
Yeah.
God, you're such a low level.
Such a fucking
fighter.
low life. I'm such a
Or
low
a
life.
rogue where you've got your tools on you. You don't have to pick any spells. Like,
Yeah. Because I have a longbow, but honestly, I don't really feel like using it. I kind of feel like it'd be nice to just use
I kind of feel like cheating using my crossbow.
No, just totally valid. I mean,
I know,
spells
but
are an important resource.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for those of you who did not get it, some of us did, the correct answer is an Ankheg. Yes, the Ankheg was the creature I reskinned for this combat. They are large monstrosities, so Harlan, it would not have worked to try to just be nice to the animals. So we have Jeff M, Megan, Sparrowhawk, Torin. So 1d4.
I will roll it.
Awesome. Good job, guys.
And the
Yeah,
solution
nicely
definitely
done. I'm
is-
impressed. Let me just tell you, I'm impressed.
3.
3. So, Sparrowhawk? Yeah, Sparrowhawk. Congratulations.
My goodness.
Well
You know
done,
your
Chris.
shit. I'm very proud.
You either know your shit or you copied. Either way, we won't know. So good job.
Either way, we're proud of you.
Yeah.
By the way, the
Bad
XP is a little bit behind. So wondering why you don't have as much experience points as you should is because I've got it all on physical paper, and you guys can't see that from where you are.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna use the washroom quickly, and I'll be back.
Do it.
Like Arnold.
break.
Oh. He didn't do it like Arnold.
So,
So now that he's gone, let's talk about him. Oh my God, Justin's so cute.
Justin.
la,
Look
la,
at that.
la, la.
Cool. So what else is up? Next week we're doing more chapters of the Undefeated. Then the week after, Alex is gonna run a game.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's gonna be called.
I want to pick
Fly
a game.
on the wall.
I want to pick a game for you to run.
Okay. I like that.
How about? Oh, I'm thinking Total Recall, the RPG.
Total Recall by recollection?
What do you think? Total Recall the RPG.
Nah. I like the original too much to ruin it that way.
That's fair. How about? No. See, now I'm thinking of ideas that I would want to do, because I'm like, oh wait, no, I'll save that for me.
David Johns wants the Ankheg yell again. Alex. Very good. And Jeff M wants to see Dream Daddy, the RPG. That sounds good.
What?
Dream Daddy, the RPG.
That sounds.
That sounds
weirdly
like a
sexy.
magic mic
Where
sort of
we
thing.
go in.
Oh my God!
Dream
Imagine
Daddy's dreams.
an
I'm
RPG where you all
Googling it.
play as like
Male
male
strippers.
Tonight on the sultry stream,
A
we can
dad dating simulator?
Hey, that actually wouldn't be a bad idea. Not the male stripper aspect, but it'd be kind of funny if we played like male bimbos for a game. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are they called?
Gigolos.
Gigolo.
No, but like, I mean, like all sort of like sort of dumb guys, but
Zoolanders?
like that was the sort of motif I was trying to figure out. Yeah, Zoolander, like male models or something like that, and we played really dumb guys like trying to do a spy, like basically the plot of Zoolander. Really good looking.
ridiculously good looking.
That'd be actually really fun, and we like did
God,
like
I want to watch Zoolander.
That
looks.
was a really good, like, male voice, Joe. I
Thank
was like,
you.
who's talking? Who's talking?
Your audio's tripping out a bit, Justin. by the
Yeah, I
way.
was just typing a message.
But I would love to play. That'd be really funny if we all played really dumb people, like really dumb guys, in like some sort of thing. Like that.
Yeah. If we all played really dumb.
Yeah, if we weren't really like us.
Yeah. For that one game.
A role-playing game.
But think about it. Like, I feel like we've done it before in like characters where you play real dumb, and it's really fun to do it. It'd be fun to do a whole RPG like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Hey Paul, what's up?
when you play it down.
Yeah, let's do that next. I want to play too, though. Can I play?
What, an RPG where we play dumb people?
Yeah, I want to play.
Totally.
Yeah.
Let's call it the male Zoolander. I don't know. There's got to be something.
What was the? I said it in an email chain as like something like unimportant or something. Alex got really.
Oh yeah,
excited.
the unimportant.
The unimportant RPG or something.
No, it was inconsequential.
It's the inconsequential
That
game.
was it. Yeah. Because I said I would run. I was like, I'll run the game, and then Joe was like, okay, yeah, we'll just do something inconsequential. And I'm like, yeah, because a game I run is inconsequential. What the fuck? I'm just like a throwaway person. I don't put any work into my stream.
We'll just call it inconsequential, and that'll be the title of it.
I can see I'm just like not caring, just being like, okay, yeah, all right. You rolled? All right, doesn't even matter. Right.
Yeah, well, that's basically what's going to happen.
Yeah, really.
Except they think it's going to be. I'm going to run this, by the way, and they think it's going to be called the inconsequential stream or whatever, but it's going to be like the most powerful, most die-centric, most rules-heavy game. It's going to be a trick.
It's going to be the game that brings all of our games together, ties together all of the storylines.
It'll be the most consequential, and it will like end as you walk through a door, and like all of the other timelines, like, you see Graham and Tados, and you see like fucking the Deadlands characters and Numenera, and you're like, oh my god, this makes sense, and you can't miss the game. And then the minute it's done, I'm going to delete the video. So if you missed it, you're fucked. That'd be fun. Hey, it'd be really interesting to do that. But like to do a game where there is no
so unique.
Well, I was gonna say a game that will not be featured afterwards. A game that will be a one and done.
Yeah,
Be
and
interesting
only live.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's
that's what I mean.
The same. Yeah, that's,
but do it. But it has to be the best one ever.
Yeah.
Oh, no pressure.
Can't put that much work into it and then not get anyone else to see it.
But then if somebody misses it, everybody else will just have to play along with it.
Yeah.
Say, oh my god!
So all we really have to do is not actually have a stream and then tell everybody but like 10 people that there was one, and then everyone just lies. Oh my god, did you see that? And when Alex shaved his head on stream,
oh my god, and he grew it back in that same 3-hour span. It was incredible.
Lots to do.
Am I crackling? Blah.
You're still a little bit wiggly wobbly.
Oh, a little bit.
Like
much
wobbly?
better.
Much better. Okay.
No.
No.
It's not
I know it's better. But...
No, it's not.
Okay.
Okay.
He's coming back. The
I'll
consequential stream.
I'll be back.
That's your. Is that your Arnold?
Yeah.
Do it again.
I'll be back. It's very good.
Yeah.
It sounds a bit British.
Is it good?
Sounds great. Sounds exactly like Arnold.
It's okay.
I'll be back.
You don't always have to do it the way it has been done.
Oh, Alex, do Honey I Shrunk the Kids RPG.
Oh yeah, that's actually
That
what I've
sounds
been wanting
really
to do for a while.
fun.
That sounds fun.
Oh, good
gonna
one,
do that.
William. Absolutely.
What, that was William's idea?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That would be really fucking
I also
fun.
had this. I
You
also
guys
had
ever
this
played
idea.
Pikmin? Sorry.
Yeah, the video game?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
I love that idea of like being super tiny in a really big environment.
I remember playing the Toy Story Small Soldiers game where you're like running around and you're like going, there's like giant cans and stuff like that. That was always so fun. That's why I love Toy Story so much.
Question: doth thou have nightmares?
That's so good. Perfect. Yeah, let's do that. Let's
We
do.
want you to have nightmares.
Who gave you all these? Did you make these yourself?
I don't know. No, I got
Oh.
them last. Someone gave them last time.
They're very good.
I'm totally down. Oh, Get Smart the RPG. That would be fucking fun. Listen here. You need to make sure that this blah 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 blah. Just talk like that the entire game. Do you remember Get Smart?
Yeah.
No one remembers Get Smart. Yeah?
Of course.
Okay, good.
Doesn't he talk into a shoe?
Yeah, it was like the Inspector Gadget. Like
Yeah.
Not
previous. Leslie Nielsen? No, it was that other dude with the sharp features. Oh, he's a short guy. And he talks like this. I think he did a voice for what sounds like
How's your mic, Justin?
How's my mic? Let me test.
Wait.
much better.
Better.
Right.
Yes,
It
much
was
better.
Google Chrome.
Big up.
Aha.
Actually, no. It was just I was really mucusy.
Oh yeah. Yeah. When you've been on the internet all day and you get that like super digital mucus.
Yeah. But like.
Super
William's
nice.
taking credit for those photos. Good job, William.
Good job, William. Good
All
job.
right.
Good job, everybody.
All right, without further
How you
ado,
doing?
Chapters of the Undefeated episode 7 returns.
So, Leah is lying on the ground. The monsters are sort of making their way back downstream. Quintus, what are you up to?
Quintus is going to run back up on top of the warehouse. As soon as he sees that Leah's stable, he's like, "You've got this, Graham?"
Yes, I think so.
Good. All right. And he runs back up on top of the warehouse, and he's just going to watch to see which direction these creatures go. Get away from the water! Get away!
Yeah, people are sort of rowing their boats and tying them up on the dock and sort of clumsily stumbling.
Don't tie them up! Just fucking get out here! Your life is more important than a wee wooden boat!
And you watch as these creatures disappear underwater downstream. You get kind of a nice lay of the land, actually, from where you're standing atop this crane. And so you see that this river kind of broadens out into kind of a wetland, maybe a couple of kilometers downriver. So it's hard to sort of tell where these creatures disappeared to, but they're gone after a couple of minutes.
And is Leah... Can I do something not spell related to heal her?
No.
It has to be a spell.
Kiss her. I'm going to kiss her.
Yeah. I give her my healing old man kiss.
And I pour water down her throat. I'll just slap her until she wakes up. No, there's
Yeah.
gotta be a way.
That's great. You just do that. Oh, how much
Her
non-lethal
skin
damage?
starts flashing off or scraping off. we
1d4 bludgeoning. 1d4 bludgeoning.
Wake up.
Gotta wait till tomorrow to get my healing spell back, I guess.
Yeah, or the other option is, you know that temples of, your deity, especially, would probably offer you some rudimentary healing services for free. If you went to other temples that weren't of Alistair, they would probably charge you.
Okay, then I will scoop her up and run to the temple.
I mean, she's stable. You know that she's like...
I think Graham sees her like as a daughter, and he's like worried.
Tados, what are you up to? You see Quintus go atop this warehouse, and Graham's tending to Leah.
I go back to Mr. Nee in his house.
Yeah, he's actually standing in the doorway, sort of watching what's going on. He's like, "You're heroes! What were those things?"
I kind of did this with my hands, and I say,
Yes, don't worry about it. That's just a small bit of the work that we do here. After all, there's nothing that says masterful like magic.
and with that, I do a cantrip, and the front door to his house, which is now currently closed but unlocked, swings wide open and slams open.
Now, let us go back inside and continue to discuss the case of your missing daughter.
Oh, you don't think it was one of those creatures, do you?
It could have been, but by the sounds of it, I do not believe so. Otherwise, they would have had to sneak into your house at night.
No, yes, of course, you're right. Oh, they smell awful. Yes, come in, come in. And he leads you inside.
And we go upstairs, and I proceed to ask him questions about the situation. For instance,
is there anybody that you suspect that would want to cause you harm or do anything to your family?
No. I'm in good standing with my community. And as the two of you continue to talk a little bit more about your investigation, Graham, you are carrying Leah through the streets of this town.
Yeah, and I run straight up to the steps of the church, and I run in past the bowls of offering towards Sister Constance.
She's actually standing at the pulpit, and she's doing some writing. It looks like when you come in, she raises her head and
and I say, sort of with wet eyes, and I kind of say, "Please, I need you to help."
Yes, of course. Here, please. Just here on the steps.
I push past her to her chambers where there's like a couch in the corner, and I lay Leah down and I step back.
Oh, okay. What happened to this child?
She was attacked by a vile creature that spit corrosive liquid on her.
Yes. One moment. And she calms herself and channels a familiar colored flame into the body of Leah. You recognize Alistair's divine graces, and Leah's body warms visibly. Her wounds knit close. Why don't you roll a d4 for me?
2.
Okay. So
why a D4? Just out of curiosity.
I don't know.
You can make that up?
Rando, yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
Cure light wounds is 2d4?
Which
1d8 plus your... Okay, so... Whatever.
Does she have one of my spells? Either like Cure
Yeah,
Wounds?
Cure light wounds. So why don't you roll a d8 instead?
Sure, and it's D8 plus wisdom.
Yeah.
So 5.
Okay, so Leah sort of...
Leah, are you all right? We're in the chambers at the Church of Sister Constance. You're okay. And I kneel by her, and I place a hand on her shoulder. And I'm just
Tados and Quintus?
They're fine. Listen, you need to rest for a moment.
Okay.
You've suffered a great deal of damage. What's her hit points back? Are you
She's
back to
got
full?
8 now.
What
You
are
said
you?
8.
Yeah, but are you at full? What are your normal?
No. I'm missing 3 hit points, but...
You're missing 3. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Graham just sort of comforts her, and you can see him sort of breathe a sigh of relief. You need to be so much more careful.
We had to get rid of those creatures. Are they gone?
Yes, they're gone, but there's us. And he sort of, now that she's back, he sort of takes a step back, and he's a bit angry, and he's like, you have to be smarter than that. You can't go running in with your sword drawn, ready to start a fight. We had no idea how strong those creatures were. We got lucky with the succubus, and we got lucky today, but had you been hit one more time, or had I not been there, you would have died.
We're heroes, Graham. We're part of the Undefeated.
That doesn't mean we need to take unnecessary risks.
But these are risks that we have to take sometimes.
Heroes doesn't mean being brash. It means being smart and protecting people.
And Sister is sitting beside you, kind of nodding. These are lessons you will need to learn, young one. You are no good to the world if you perish.
It's all right. Let's and I help her up, sort of. Or is she mad at me, or is she sort of like?
No, she's just like, okay, well, thank you. And she's like, I'll need a tailor for this.
Well, luckily the man we need to speak with is one. Give him some business.
Quintus, where are you?
That's a good question. Quintus is mad. Quintus is angry that the guard did not come and do anything about the screaming citizens. And while I do partly take the blame for the people who were killed and taken, I'd have to say that the guard were mostly responsible for not showing up. And now those things are still out there, and they might come back. They're going to have to increase defenses. So I'm kind of stewing a little bit on top of the warehouse, and I'm looking to see if anything changes. Actually, no. You know what? What I'd do is I'd hop down and I would go to the waterfront and I would help people out of the water and say, hey, you're all right.
You pick up a limb, toss it on shore.
You're all right, go home, start the fire, get yourself warm. All right, you're gonna be fine.
And a couple of the proprietors of these boats are kind of fishing some of their wares out of the river, what they can, and looking over their boats. Some people are nursing injuries. A couple of folks are crying over people who were murdered or taken.
I approach one of the people who's like gathering his fish.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, things must be really bad if you're more concerned about your catch than your own life.
Ah, well, you gotta make a living if you're gonna live, you know. I'm just fed up with this fucking town.
Fed up with it? As in, fed up with the guards that didn't come to your rescue?
Ha! Wouldn't lift a finger even if they were here. Anyway, I'll probably pack up shop and, I don't know. River is just as bad as downriver these days.
That wetlands up there, that's where it seemed like these creatures were going.
Oh, is it?
Tell me about them. I believe so.
Well, the river widens just downriver quite a little bit. Turns into a marsh for a couple of leagues.
Aye, I believe that's the correct terminology. You would know. I mean, you're
as a
the
sail shop commander.
Right.
And then downriver farther is where you get to Orjek. So you have to go through the swamp to get to the capital. You see.
You do, even by road.
Oh no! But the ship that I have, you know.
Would you say it's faster, safer to go through the wetlands than to take the road to the capital?
Safer? No. Not
well,
safer.
What kind of things would you expect to run into there? I mean, these nymph creatures there, if they live in the wetlands, then definitely I wouldn't be wanting to take a boat. But what else is there?
Oh, there's like a gangly creature sometimes. Hungry, but likes to steal. And beware of the lights in the nighttime. They lure you.
Well, I thank you for the information. Pack up your load, get away from the water. They may come back, all right?
All right. He tips his cap to you. Tados, was there something specific you wanted to ask the tailor, or are you just kind of chatting with him? You are muted, my friend.
Thank you. I did. It was funny because I went right into it. I did. When you woke up after realizing your daughter was gone, did you have a bad taste in your mouth?
No. Nothing remarkable, no.
And last but not least, did you have any nightmares?
Since my daughter was stolen, yes, every night.
Now, I do understand that maybe these nightmares will be of you doing some very, very, very terrible things. Please, tell me, honestly, what were your nightmares about? And he sits down in a chair and listens intently.
Well, mostly just that I was in a room by myself, with no doors and no windows, and I knew that she was gone, and I couldn't get out. This dream came back every night. I tried digging through the walls, but nothing worked until my fingers were bleeding and gone.
And then
Terrible.
And then you awoke, and your baby was still gone.
Yes, my baby was still gone.
I'm sorry. Please, do me a favor, Mr. Nee.
Yes.
Get some rest. Because when the time comes where we require your assistance, you will need your energy. So please, rest. And do not bother the beggar rat in the street. He knows nothing. Trust me. We, the Undefeated, have already inquired him and questioned him and put him to the test, and
I didn't get all
it
my
won't do you
brains
any
out.
favor. What?
Nothing.
It won't do you any good to spend your energy, harassing this poor person.
Yes, I suppose you're right. Well, thank you for all that you've done for the harbor and and for me. And I want to give you inspiration for that.
Oh, thank you.
Good role playing. Okay.
So just a 1. Do I put a 1 there?
Yep, you either have inspiration or you don't have inspiration. So you do have it to spend whenever you like now. So you take your leave from Liam Nees.
I'll be back, Mr. Nees.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
I'd like to return to the homeless guy because our conversation was interrupted.
You sound like you're stuck in a computer.
Yeah, you're like Justin now.
now.
I am Justin.
Was a microphone.
It's funny that you ask about that because it's much better. The old man is now gone.
Oh, of course. Damn. Okay. Then I would take Leah. She's now up and Adam.
Yeah, you guys. I mean, if you were gonna go look for the old man, you would be back in this area of town again.
I look around for him and I don't see him, and I say, "Odd that the man seems to up and left."
I mean, I can't imagine wanting to stick around while those terrible creatures were attacking Graham.
Perhaps. In any case, I guess we have everything we needed from him. He mentioned that in his dream, the young child was taken to a swamp. But he also mentioned, and I'll find Quintus and Tados. I'm assuming Tados.
Yeah, everyone is converging. Coincident.
Yeah.
Whose dream?
The gentleman who was sitting across from the tailor.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure I just listened to the dream and there's nothing about a swamp.
Chris Kane, he mentioned that he had visions, that he saw the baby daughter Lotus taken. He mentioned that she was a flower in swaddled clothes, but he mentioned that she was no longer with us, that she was consumed by a creature that moved like the air, a non-physical entity. He also mentioned that he had taken her to a swamp. Now, I don't know whether I believe this man. What?
Can I ask a question out of character? What is Lotus? Is that like
it's the baby's name, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's also the name of a flower.
Yes.
Well, I knew that, but I thought there was something to do with this woman that was part of a tribe. I thought you said it was a Lotus.
Yeah,
tribe.
I wanted to ask the guy a few things. That's why it was good that we split the party because we had lots of questions to ask. But I was curious about a few things, and I don't know if you mentioned it, Alex, but did we find out if the child was human?
We did not. The tailor himself is a half-elf.
Right, and he said that the woman was a hunter that birthed her, right, and then died.
Yeah.
Okay. I kind of
and they were and that they were passing through town.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it was almost like a one-off, one night stand.
And we didn't ask anything about.
This pregnant woman was part of this hunting party that came through town. Yeah. She ended up giving birth while she was staying there.
So we have no idea what the.
And they moved along.
Yeah, I want to ask Taylor some questions, unfortunately. So I go back over and I knock and I introduce myself.
Hello, yes.
Yes, actually, I'm in there still, and I'm exiting. How about that?
And I bump into you and say,
perfect. Oh, hello.
And I say, yes, good day. And I just say, you mentioned after speaking with my friends that the daughter, the baby girl, was she of human birth or was she half elf like yourself?
Human, yes.
Completely human. Was there anything distinguishing or special about her? The color of her hair,
the fact that she's my beautiful daughter.
And her crib was in the room with the 2 other beds.
That's right.
She was taken in the night.
Yes.
And your daughters were not disturbed?
No.
Did they not notice or see anything in particular or bizarre? Interesting.
And in fact, it wasn't really his daughter. It was just his adopted daughter.
He treated like his
adopted daughter. Sorry, not.
All right. I'm just gonna roll a quick insight and just be like, is there anything that you haven't told us that you think would be in any way, shape, or form beneficial to the situation? And I rolled 2 accidentally.
Can we just run a blanket question here?
19.
Anything else we need to know?
The 7 was for a D8 that I had. The 14 is a 20.
Yeah. This guy's distraught and helping you as most he can.
Perfect, and I nod and I
There were swamp monster footprints in the bedroom.
Yeah,
no, but
I forgot about.
Well, but the fact that it was taken in the middle of the night with the 2 daughters makes me think that's very suspicious. And the fact that I did want to know whether it was human, because if it was like a half fucking imp baby,
for sure. No, fair question.
And I just before I leave, I say, and the mother, her race was human.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, again?
Humans beget humans.
They do, but then wouldn't it be like, that's the weird thing? Even though it was a human baby, I don't know. All right, and then I leave.
Demon hunter.
Well, if I didn't ask, I'd be kicking myself. It's like, why didn't you ask that question, Harlan? So I
He
leave.
was
This
actually a
I don't
turd.
blame you.
It's not
Just has entered
possible.
the room. He's
a turtle?
leaning in the doorway, and he asks, "Your daughters, they sleep in the same room as the baby, no?"
Yes.
That's what I just asked.
You did ask that.
Yeah, I covered that already. Because I was curious about that
So-
too.
I just got here, actually,
I
so I
know.
didn't know that.
It's
Fair
Sorry.
enough. And
Never
I didn't
mind.
insight to see if
We're all
there's
converging.
Again, Quintus, yes.
We're all
Yeah.
converging in the Taylor's front doorway.
Yeah.
I get the feeling
for
that
having
there's
us, by the
nothing
way.
else to be told, so let's go. And then I leave. Despite
so
many
it's-
questions. But
It's it's like later on in the afternoon at this
Yeah.
point.
so I would duck into a pub because there's so many pubs in this fucking town, right? There's like
Yeah.
a ton. Which also
This is a drinking town.
There's
Which-
the blue pub, the red pub, the yellow pub.
Yeah.
the green pub, the
So I
green pub,
I pop into
pub.
one with the others, and we grab a table, and I just kind of quickly reevaluate. And I say, okay, listen, here's the story.
We're in the
Ultimately, this-
yellow melon.
Yeah, the baby Lotus was taken by a creature that essentially this house was completely closed. It was locked, and in the middle of the night, the child was stolen somehow. The man across the street said it was a shapeless entity that did it, and that took her to the swamp. Now, as much as I am saddened for this child, if we are to believe what he says, that the child is dead, and that's not to say we are, but ultimately, if that's the case, why seek it out in the swamp? We're offered no reward, no benefit, nothing other than to just benefit a man's mind. And even if we do find it and the child is dead, that would be of no consolation to the man.
Honestly, you've got a point, but the way I see it is the swamp and the wetlands seem to be causing these people some troubles, whether or not it's this spectre being that you're talking about that's stealing babies. Something needs to be done about the creatures that came today.
Well, it doesn't seem like any other creatures were, or any other babies were taken. This is the only story. We asked the guards, we asked anything that was happened. The only other thing that's come up of late was a murder for a petty theft, which also brings up the violent dreams people are having. And I've also noticed there's a lot of drinking in this town too. I don't know if the two are related, but not many people came to our aid, so the violence obviously must be directed towards certain people and circumstances. Otherwise, angry people would probably look for something to punch and kick. As I laugh, remembering the giant freaky creatures.
Possibly. And this man, Mr. Nee, he had nightmares, but only after the fact, and they weren't like the others. He was not committing some vile, outrageous murder. He simply misses his 6-day-old daughter. Obviously, that's
Well,
distressing.
I mean, I also think there's got to be how many babies in this town? At least a few. Why was this baby stolen? Could it be that it's just a random event, or was there some reason specifically that this baby was important for some reason?
Put it this way, the baby, while sad, affects one person's life, and frankly, as far as I can tell, even a 6-day-old child that was taken by another person for good means doesn't have, for anything other than sinister means, doesn't have much of a hope to be found. If
But
the mother,
Graham, what about what the beggar said?
about what, the vision?
Yes.
What of it?
Oh, just this creature, invisible, stealing a child. That doesn't terrify you?
Well,
Is it going to happen again?
Dream? Do
ultimately,
tell.
well, what we did. He said that there was an invisible creature that took this child in the night and headed to the swamp to consume it.
Oh, very interesting. Very interesting.
Well, here's where I stand. I mean, you're all right that this is only one case. I thought that maybe it was more of a town-wide event. But bottom line is, I gave my word that I would help him find his child.
I do.
Tados, roll Arcana.
Now, Tados, if you know anything about any creature that could have been capable of this, going
Well,
into a room like this.
Actually, I do know quite a bit about those things. After rolling a 20, after a 17 plus 3,
I see. Yes, that's how your brain works, is it?
Yes, yes, it comes to me in numbers.
Now, having heard this story from Graham and Leah about this man, and knowing that from your own personal experience, these visions about things coming to pass sometimes do come true, you recognize some of the things in this story to kind of be making sense together. You know there are certain creatures that steal children for their own purposes, and some of them do have the ability to become invisible.
Yes, in fact, many do have the ability to become invisible.
In fact, they might also be related to the nightmares in town.
In fact, they could even be related to the nightmares, now that I think of it.
How so? How would
How
they
would
be
that make
related?
sense? Yes.
I'm scrambling through my book that's in my pocket. Little scribbles and scrambles everywhere. It's like a well-used journal.
Let me just see. Ah, yes, this page here.
You come on an entry that you made some years ago about hags.
Ah, yes, the hag. Well, you see.
And I go on to tell about.
You've never encountered one personally, but you know that hags create new hags by eating children, by eating babies. And that sometime after consuming a new infant, the hag becomes pregnant with that child, essentially. Gives birth to a new hag who becomes a member of that coven.
Yes, and the most disgusting thing is where they birth it through their throat. They throw it up. They consume it, and then they throw up a baby hag. You see, and then it has to muster for a week or so in the swamp.
Fantastic.
Yes.
That makes a lot of sense. And so how could this be related to the dreams then?
Well, it could be a matter of perhaps there are maybe these specific hags are not necessarily causing these nightmares directly, but rather indirectly, the same way we are held to the ground here with the gravitational pull of that is throughout the universe.
Excuse me.
You see,
What?
What's
as
the
the
universe?
hag consumes a baby, maybe in the next town, you may still receive the vibes through.
Is any of what he's actually saying true?
No, but I mean, he doesn't know
Okay, he
100%
doesn't know.
about these creatures, so I'm just
But
like,
you do feel Tado's
So I'm
convinced
simply
that. But you
speculating.
do believe that the dreams and the hags are related.
Yes, I do.
Well then,
Because the hags, they affect your dreams by.
right. Well, that's all we need to know then. Let's kill this thing because ultimately that's what we want to do.
Well, we're going to be dealing with more than one, I imagine.
And
How long does it take for a hag to grow into a full-grown hag lady, a penis lady?
do you have anything in your book there, Tados, about that?
Yes, I believe I do.
So just
I
discount
get
this whole next part. I don't know enough about D&D to remember the right things and now the wrong. I'm gonna refer to
It's
this in
great,
a
because
year.
that would be metagaming, right?
No,
Like
I know.
you-
I'll be like in a year. I'll be like, oh, what I know about hags is this. I'll be like, wait a minute. No, that's not what I know. That's what Tato said a year ago.
So what we know about hags is that they eat babies, and when they eat the young of a human, they can then regurgitate and make a new hag or birth a new hag. I made up the regurgitation.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
I just want to know the
But,
stuff that
I
we
mean,
know
what-
for sure. That's
What
all.
do they look like? They're not human. They're are they a fiend?
You would also know that they have the same ability that the succubus has, which is to travel through the ethereal plane.
Right. Which is a fiend, right?
The succubus is a fiend, yes.
Yeah. So they can travel through the ethereal plane. What do they look like? Are they
They really, really, really like being ugly.
okay? But they are of physical form. They're not like a ghost or something.
No, they
Even though they can travel like a ghost.
right.
Okay, so they do take physical form, and they're really, really ugly hags.
Hmm.
Hence the name hags.
Yeah, they love that.
And
Yeah, that's a great idea, Zia. I'm gonna start that. Right
They could choose to be beautiful, but they choose to be ugly instead.
That's right. Yes. If you ever see a very, very ugly person,
Well,
it may not be a hag, but if you see a very, 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 very ugly person, that could be a hag.
I see. Well, I guess they've got their priorities all mixed up if they live in swamps when they could live in a town if they're capable of.
I made that
traveling
up.
from
Do they
plane.
live in swamps?
They can live where they want to be.
Oh, all right. I
They
guess.
can live where they want to.
I mean,
Wherever-
they're
They can leave
very,
their kids behind.
they really like being super ugly. It's like their favorite thing. Like hags are known to like cultivate boils on their face by like constantly picking at their skin and like
Oh, so like crackheads or something.
they're like they prize ugliness
Meth
the same
addicts.
way that people in real society prize beauty.
Perfect.
Interesting. Okay.
Interesting.
I almost said beautiful.
Hey, which might not be a bad idea, Tados. You have the ability to transform yourself, and if they praise ugliness the same way we praise beauty, perhaps if you were to arrive extremely ugly, they may favor you in some way.
Do you think you'd really need to change anything?
Quintus! I was just about to say, Graham, you're very kind to say that I'm not already ugly. In fact, I could almost kiss you.
Well,
And I get really close, and it's like one of those Ren and Stimpy shots.
I have
You got-
very,
Do
very
it.
specific
Do it.
fetishes.
Do it.
All right,
Do it.
listen, focus. This is important.
Focus.
Then. Well, I didn't realize that this would be a. Frankly, I kind of figured it was a one and done type deal. A man had a vision about a baby being eaten, but no further visions about dangers in this town. So
Please.
this changes.
This is the undefeated. Nothing is once and done.
True. Ultimately, I think we need to then track down this hag into the swamp and kill it. Do we know what would... I mean, evil radiant damage, I suppose, would work, but ultimately I need to sleep. It's very important for Leah to heal and myself to get new spells before we go
Well,
into
what
the
time is it? Is it sleeping time yet? Is
was
it getting
afternoon.
dark out?
Yeah, it's like almost dinner time. It's not really sleeping time yet.
All right. Well, we technically are the town guard. So what I'm going to say, I'm going to go around, I'm going to talk to the guard. I'm going to tell people to lock up their children, lock themselves up in their houses. I don't want to cause a panic, but I also don't want people to
What
be subject to being kidnapped by hags.
what time is it?
It's
Of
like
the day.
4, like 3 or 4.
Maybe we should just call a town hall meeting in the square.
What do you mean call a meeting?
I mean, get everybody's attention. Have everybody come outside and forewarn everybody at once.
This is a big town, Tados. You think that people would just knocking on all these doors would take the better part of an afternoon?
But
Man,
of course,
you
I
know
can...
what? We've got to speak to the captain of the guard. They've got to get their shit together.
Listen, I'm not so concerned with that. I think we've uncovered something very important here. Understanding that these are creatures, this hag, is not only stolen this child 6 days ago, but is also planning to birth another hag from it. It makes it our absolute primary concern right now, and we don't need to wait until night to sleep. I think we should go back to the room right now, sleep until we are well rested, and then leave immediately for the swamp and slay this creature before it has any time to reproduce.
I agree with you, but we're not going to be here all the time. The town guard should be the ones taking care of problems like this.
But let us remember something, that right now the town is plagued by a terrible, violent nightmares that Tados seems to think is related to the hags as well. Meaning that if we wait until nightfall, there's a strong possibility that the violence will creep out again. And remember, the guards themselves are affected by this dream.
Yes, not to mention even warning people would not necessarily. These creatures, they can move through the ethereal planes. Walls and doors and windows will not stop them.
Well, that's right. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
There's no sense in warning anybody. You're a very
it's
good
out
point,
of their
Leah.
control. You're right.
People will just get panicked.
Yes.
Agreed.
Let's finish our drinks and make our way to the swamp.
No,
I say
I
we
want to
just
sleep.
tackle it.
Yes, we need to sleep.
We need to
I
sleep.
have to regain my health, and I need to meditate.
Yes.
I have
Yes,
to
of course.
prepare my spells to study. I need to be ready for this.
Agreed. And I also think just in case, I think we should each take separate rooms tonight. I don't feel personally affected by any violent dreams of any sort, but should we fall victim to them, I think it'd be safe to separate ourselves behind locked door.
I agree.
Just in case.
And I holler to the waiter. In fact, I snap my fingers, and you hear like several like other snaps that go through the bar. It's like all the way next to the ear of the waiter, and he looks over at us.
He kind of prances over. Yes, hello. What can I get for you?
Yes, let's make it another round for everybody, and
No,
we'll need 4 rooms for the night.
I think
lovely.
I'm going to excuse myself, Tados. I appreciate it very much.
So 3 drinks
Yes.
and 4 rooms.
And
No,
4 rooms.
I'm also going to get a room in one of the other taverns. I think it'd be best if I don't tell you which. And I sort of start
Fair
moving
enough.
through the door, and I think might be overly cautious, but I feel this is important.
Yes.
Let us
Graham
meet
is
at
wise,
what
yet
time is it now?
somewhat overly cautious.
You said it was just dinner time.
Sorry, I just got
5
extremely
o'clock.
distracted by a very disturbing picture in the Discord.
I'm staring at it right now.
I am not looking at the Discord
I've seen
anymore.
Oh, I saw that movie. That's good.
Nope.
What movie is that?
The Taking of something or other. What's her name? She's got like the high back forehead.
Yeah, no, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't look at that.
It's animatronics.
Yeah, whatever. Sorry, what was your question?
I just asked what time it was, and what
Yeah,
I
it's like
4:35.
yeah, what a full rest would be. 8 hours.
8 hours.
Okay, so 3.
And I would like
So
to
midnight?
meet at the break of dawn. Let's say 5:30, 4:35.
I'm thinking we should do midnight and like head to the swamp.
Okay.
Just to
Okay.
add to the setting.
Graham, you
Fine.
don't have night vision, so you're going to need to be carrying light with you.
Well, do we know how far the swamp is roughly?
I've got the light covered.
It's, I don't know how far away I said it was, like a league.
6 hours.
League.
Yeah, it's probably like a 4-hour, 5-hour walk.
Perfect. So if we leave at midnight, it'll be dawn by the time we get there anyway.
Perfect. And I've got lights, and we kind of discussed this. We can meet in the middle of town under moonlight. You don't need lights to get to the middle of town.
Yes, agreed. We will meet at midnight in the center of town, head to the swamp, and be there by daybreak to slay this fucking witch.
Daybreak.
Hag.
Oh, I see. Yes. I see.
Before we go, I just want to. There's something I need to take care of.
Be careful.
Okay. Tados, would you like another beer?
I'm certainly having another drink.
And the bartender who's been standing beside us is like, 2 ales. Yes, I'll be right back.
1 ale and 1 fish water, fermented
course.
fish water. Yes,
Yes,
thank you.
yes, very sorry. 1 ale and 1 fermented fish water coming right up. And he prances away. Quintus, what is your business?
I stand up, I'll leave the tavern, and I go back to the tailor's house.
Well, good night then.
Good night, Quintus.
He just stands up.
Good
and
night, you
leaves.
guys.
No.
I'm sorry, I'll be back. You might see me. I might come for a round before you decide to head off. I
Sorry.
walk up to the tailor's door and I knock on it.
Yes. Oh, hello, Quintus.
Hey, I'm sorry to bother you again today. It was bothering me what you said earlier, that you were, you said that you were a bad father.
Ooh. It's hard not to feel like that sometimes, you know, when you're raising 3 little girls on your own and then one of them just disappears. How does a baby leave her crib and all the windows locked? And
I can imagine that.
maybe I'm going crazy.
Nay, you're not going crazy. What happened exactly as we believe it happened. And it's not your fault.
Do you
There
know
was
something?
nothing you could have done about it.
Quintus, what happened to my daughter?
All I can tell you is what we know. And that is that your baby was in her crib, and then the doors were locked, and it disappeared. That's as much as you know. Right?
Yes.
there's nothing you can do about it. And as horrible as it is to say, you have, well, as horrible as it feels to say, you still have 2 daughters that love, care, and depend upon you. And you've done a fantastic job raising them so far.
Yes.
I suggest you
yes.
keep that as your focus.
Thank you. If you need anything at all, anything, please let me know.
Have a good night, Liam.
You too. Thank you. And he goes back inside.
And that's probably enough time for me to come back and have a beer with the others.
Yeah, sure. Graham, where do you go to?
I head back to the street and I walk along in the afternoon sun and sort of think about watching Leah sort of fall on her back and almost die at our hands. And I think about what sort of danger a hag poses to such a young, inexperienced party. And sort of overcome by this, while my intention was to go home, I duck into a bar by myself and walk up to the bar and start drinking heavily, Graham. And during this time, sitting there, I become more and more drunk as the hours roll by, to the point where it's maybe 5 or 6. And I had planned to be in bed by a few hours at this point, but secretly on my own, I'm starting to remember my past. And as the liquor pours down my throat and I remember growing up, I remember being a criminal. I remember the side of myself that I had so long since suppressed with Alistair's grace and light, and I feel a bit excited at that side of me, being able to push past this outer exterior, away from these people that I feel like I need to be a certain way in front of. I feel like myself. And as the bar begins to fill, as the workers leave their various homes, I sort of stand up with a slight swagger and walk over to the minstrel playing and start flipping her copper coins and start being a bit rambunctious, to the point where I walk up to the bartender and in sort of a drunken slur ask if he knows where I could have a good time.
Yeah, so he's sort of wiping down the bar. What time about is this?
It's not that late, it's like 7.
Okay. He's like, well, sir, it's not, this isn't that kind of a place.
Aye,
but,
what kind of a place is it if a man like me can't have a good time?
Oh, well, I saw you were having a very good time.
And why should it stop?
No, certainly not. Of course not, sir. Well,
It makes no difference to you, does it?
No, sir. And he sort of was looking around the room.
Are you trying to be... Are you giving me some sort of lip?
Graham's getting drunk and mouthy.
Are you attempting to try to undercut? And there's an undercurrent of anger to the way Graham sort of approaches the bartender. Sort of so used to being, again, sort of the calm, level-headed person in the party that he's almost looking for sort of something. And as a hand slaps on his shoulder and he turns to the man next to him, who's just sort of a passive... Oh, sorry. what happens? I'm not replaying this as your story.
Yeah.
Sorry. I got carried away.
He starts narrating the DM.
Never mind. So Graham just gets a bit, just to get rowdy a bit.
Yeah, I mean, the bartender, like, finds his strongman in the room and, like, beckons him over. And there's, like, a big dude. And kind of like, all right, sir, this is enough, thank you.
And Graham sort of spins around, which knocks over the bar stool, and he looks at him. And for a moment, his hand sort of tightens into a fist that goes red. And Graham sort of just grits his teeth and thinks about Leah lying on the couch and how foolish she was for making such a brash move. And as he clenches his fist tighter and tighter, he draws blood as his nails sink into his palm.
Oh, jeez.
And then he just breathes for a moment and sort of sees himself and sees the bar, and people sitting in the booths are sort of looking at him confused, and there's sort of a hush as the minstrel stop playing, and he realizes that his eyes have been sort of softly growing red, and he swallows hard, and he steps on little piles of ash that he's sort of sunk into the floor beneath his feet through the heat he was generating. And he sort of looks to the larger man, looks up at him, and he says, I apologize. I seem to have lost my temper. And he sort of looks down towards the floor. And he steps beside him and he exits the bar. And he finds another place to sleep.
Have a good night, sir.
Yes. And he slaps a gold piece on the bar before leaving. And he goes to another bar and he climbs into bed and sleeps soundly.
Cool. Anyone else? We all head to bed uneventfully.
Yeah. I put the lights out a couple times at the bar through trying to be funny. And like they all get blown out for like seconds at a time, and then they come back up and I'm like
I think the patrons are like
Nobody knows
spooked
what's
at
going
first, and then as you get like enough like fish water in you, you start making it a little bit more theatric, and people eventually start applauding.
And it's like it ends up there's like a guy playing the fiddle in the corner, and there's lights dancing around, and it becomes a big thing, and it's a montage, and then sleep time.
Awesome. So we wake up around when? Like around midnight, basically?
Yeah.
And we all decide to go to the town square. So I'm going to regain all my hit points. Was I the only one injured in that battle?
Yep.
I lost 1 hit point from digging my nails into my palm so deeply.
Oh, I think Justin maybe. Quintus took.
Oh, I took a little bit. I took 1 point of damage. I'm at 19.
Nothing too exciting.
Nah. So I healed that.
Yeah.
All right.
And Graham, you can pick new spells for the day if you like.
I have. Do you want to know what they are?
No, it's not necessary.
Okay, that way I can cheat.
Okay, can we stop it with the spooky photos and the... I'm sorry,
I agree.
It's
I
really
think
distracting.
it's funny what's going on, but yeah, it is distracting. I'm trying to watch the comments. And
Yeah, I'm just not...
some of these
I can't
pictures are just
read
like,
Discord
oh, no.
anymore, so I'm just not going to talk to any of you.
William, you win the creepy of the night.
Which was
Congratulations.
not a competition any of us really wanted to play.
Yeah.
So we all show up at the town square, middle of town, middle of the night. Everyone's all ready to go. Graham, you're probably a little bit worse for the wear.
Yeah, and actually I have a white bandage around my hand. Like, I dug my nails into it very deeply, like to the point where I literally cut the base of my palm open with my nails because I was clenching so tight.
And you didn't just heal yourself?
No, in fact, when I went back to my room before bed, I looked at it through like a hazy look, and I decided to keep it sort of as a memory of keeping my anger in check.
So are we just walking, I guess, out of town? Did you see where we're going, Quintus?
Well, we could follow the river. That would take us to the wetlands fast enough, I believe.
Okay. And Graham, what are we going to do about your eyes? We need some light.
No, it should be fine. And I cast light on my pendant while we watch. The swamp seems to be about 5 hours away. Light will be upon us by then.
Yeah.
So
And even before that, I've already got dancing lights kind of going, and they're in almost like a moving circle around us in, I'd say, a 10-foot radius. You know? So we've almost got like, it's as if invisible people are carrying torches all around us so that we don't have to worry about it.
Okay. As we pass through the town, it seems like mostly everyone is asleep right now. The lights are mostly all out. We see that the shutters are closed over the tailor's windows as we pass down to the riverside. And all the boats are docked. Everything seems pretty much cleaned up from the crazy afternoon that we had. And as we walk out of town, the sounds of the countryside start to greet us. Whippoorwills and crickets.
Whippoorwill!
Yeah. Just like that.
Look up here! Look up here!
What's that from?
Three Amigos.
Three Amigos.
Look up here! Look up here!
That's right.
Such a good scene.
It's like a couple of hours, and we realize that like the ground is getting soft and mushy underneath our feet. We're hearing like spring peepers, cheep cheep cheeping. It's springtime.
I know.
You guys call spring peepers? Feel like
No, it's the cutest name, Spring Peepers.
yeah, it's the first little
And bullfrogs.
No, not yet. You guys are so good at sound effects.
That's definitely a bullfrog.
There aren't any. It's springtime.
Aww.
It's just one animal making.
Just one guy in the one guy in the woods be like, oh.
It's Tados. He's using his thaumaturgy.
Thaumaturgy.
Yeah.
Can you stop that?
Wrong.
Tados, can you stop that? We're trying to listen to hear if there's any monsters coming.
Sorry, yes, of course, the hag. Heads up. She's hideous.
Everyone make a perception check for me, please.
Ugh.
Okay.
I'm thinking about this, and I'm talking as I'm walking. Really,
Yes, indeed.
I didn't know if walking along the riverside was the best idea. Because
Walking
things
along.
just jump right out of the river and catch us unawares because we can't see them.
Well, let's get
But I
away
guess the
from the
forest is the
riverside.
same.
My passive is 20, by the way. So,
Oh, fair enough.
and I rolled a 19 anyway.
Everyone else?
I rolled a 6. Oh, 6.
Oh, I did a good job. I rolled a 19
Passive.
also.
Do we add it to the passive or no?
No, your passive is just like a standard walking down the street perception without trying.
So if I roll lower, can I just use that?
Yeah, sure.
I rolled a 5, so I'm going to use my
Um,
passive. Just
Graham and Leah both start to notice like in the. Sorry, I just did something to this fucking thing.
These fucking things.
the rolls.
No, to the video. Can you guys still see me?
Yeah.
Who? Where are you?
What? Who's talking?
Who is that? Chris?
It's me, Chris Viseau.
Who? Oh, yeah, that's his name.
So Leah and Graham start to see like little glimmery lights in the distance, sort of passing between tree trunks.
There are little glimmery lights in the distance passing between tree trunks.
And I snap my fingers, and the dancing lights around us go out.
Perfect. And I crouch and start climbing and hide behind a tree. And I look.
What are they?
What are
It's
they?
hard to see. They sort of blink out of existence for a little while, and then they blink into existence a little bit closer, and then blink out of existence. And they're kind of like changing how much light they're giving off.
Huh.
The
Fireflies?
Jinx.
Jinx.
Almost as if someone with a torch is walking between the trees.
But blinking out of existence. Well,
don't
vision,
know.
at least.
Yeah, right. What does that, Quintus? Oh, right. The hags.
Well, I didn't even know. Do hags do that?
Yes.
I think I remember hearing something about some sort of. Nah, I don't know. I didn't read my books.
I'm just gonna watch them for a minute because I don't know what they're.
Yeah, they sort of are like just kind of like wandering around, you know, appearing and disappearing in sort of in the direction that we're heading. So if we keep walking, we'll probably like hit them.
I don't.
Oh,
know.
it's a hag.
Who's got dark vision?
I do. Well, I've got low light, I believe.
Um,
Oh no, I've got dark vision.
Yeah, and I've got 60 feet of dark vision.
Oh man, I don't have dark vision. That
Neither
sucks.
do I.
You hold on to my tailcoat.
So I'm thinking that,
Coat tails.
like, how far away would these dancing lights be?
I don't know,
These
maybe
moving-
maybe like between 100 meters and 50 meters away, sort of like moving around. Sometimes there's like one only, sometimes there's none. Sometimes
Can I roll
there's like,
nature on them if I've seen them before? And,
yeah, you can do that.
Sure.
For sure.
Let's do that.
Well, that being said, I'd like to suggest to Quintus that we kind of crawl up.
Well, before, let me just see if I know what these are. It's a 12.
You've never seen these before.
I've never seen them before. Go ahead, crawl up.
You want to crawl up?
That's what they want.
I'll crawl forward.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
You guys
I mean, we're
wanna
not really. Are
You
we?
guys sit
stealthily?
back here.
Are we close enough to
I'll
even
crouch.
see what they are if we could, from where we are?
I mean, think about like 50 meters away from you in a like darkness. It's hard to tell what they are apart from just some light that sometimes it's hard to tell whether they're changing size or they're getting closer to you, farther away from you.
So we're gonna have to get at least 18 meters between these people for us to see 60 feet. Just so you know, if we're being honest with the distances and whatnot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd like to stealth up.
Okay.
Should we both go, or maybe just one of us? I turn to Quintus.
I'll take the lead.
Are you stealthy?
For sure. Am I stealthy? Oh, maybe a wee bit.
Same here. I'm what you would consider a +1 stealthy.
I know what you're saying. I would consider myself maybe around a +2.
Okay, you should stealth. You should climb up. Seeing as how we both have 60 feet of dark vision in the nighttime.
Well, I mean, dark vision just means that you can like see what is not illuminated. With the lights, you can see them. Like
Yeah, but when
and Graham can see them too.
But still, like 5 o'clock in the morning, it's still dark enough that you wouldn't really be able to see what's holding the light.
Oh, definitely.
Unless
Definitely.
you're close enough, you know.
Yeah. So you want to stealth up? One or both of you?
I'll do it.
Just Quintus, yeah.
Okay, Quintus, why don't you
your
make
spells
a
ready.
stealth check and then tell me how you are proceeding, whether you're like darting from bush to bush or I mean it's there's not a lot of leaf cover, it's springtime.
Right. So I am going. I got to 17, rather, and Tados is staying back while Quintus walks forward, and he's going to take the beach because walking along the sand and dirt isn't going to make as much noise as walking through whatever bramble is in the woods.
So you forego the cover of the limbs of the trees and the trunks in favor of the soft footsteps on the riverbank. And you're able to get within maybe 30 feet of these floating lights. And you realize that there's nothing holding them whatsoever. They're just kind of flying around.
All right.
And there's actually kind of like a spooky like chittering that's happening. They're like you're not sure if they're communicating with each other or if them being luminescent is making a noise of itself.
The drinks that I've had tonight make my brain a little bit foggy, but a memory does creep through of talking to that fisherman, and he said stay away from the lights or something to that effect. And I do believe that this is exactly what he was talking about. So I'm going to slowly creep my way back to the group and tell them that we should find another way forward, perhaps.
And so I question Quintus on this.
What do you mean? Avoid? Maybe these are the lights of the hags.
Yeah, well, the hags could have lights, they could not have lights. Whether they have lights is irrelevant. We were told to stay away from the lights. I think that we should stay away from the lights.
All right. Any idea what the lights, what your fisherman friend said the lights could mean?
Well, by what he said, I was given the impression that the lights that he was describing were in some way meant to lure people or creatures. Can you think of any
You've sold me.
animals that might be able to lure creatures with a light?
I'd like to roll that if I
Yeah,
could.
definitely.
For my own Arcana check, or maybe Nature check.
You can roll nature or arcana. Yeah, either one.
I guess they have the same. I have the same. So it's going to be a 13 plus 3, 16.
And do you want to know if you know anything about these in terms of them being creatures that you would recognize?
Yeah, something that uses lights to attract its prey.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't the kind of terrain that you're used to in your like homeland.
Right.
But you do know of creatures in the mountains that use kind of lures, almost like deep sea fishes, deep in the crevasses of these mountains that you live in the deep, dark places, in the caves. That luminescence in a dark place is meant to attract things that would want to investigate or eat.
Anglerfish, is that what they're called?
That's the one.
Anglerfish.
So I
above land.
kind of describe this.
There are many creatures which use the light as sort of an attraction to use as a prey. I agree with you, Quintus. I think we should skirt around it.
Agreed. Let's skirt around.
Not get caught up.
Agreed.
So we can take a pretty wide berth around these lights. It's going to eat up maybe an extra 10 minutes, but they don't seem to have noticed
Totally perfect. Yeah.
anything. Cool. So we deke around them, and as the sun starts to rise around 6 or so in the morning, we recognize that the shapes of the trees have started to change, that we've been accidentally stepping into water. You know, the river has broadened significantly, and it seems like it's quite a lot shallower than it used to be. And there are unfamiliar sounds of wildlife. This is clearly swamp land. There are leafless stems that are like, I'm not sure if you've seen beside like roadsides, you would see like an old tree, but it's like just covered in like the remains of a creeper vine. So everything is kind of like, it looks just like wet and leafless and dark. They said the sun is coming up. It's like a watery yellow color because there are clouds just above the horizon that are going to be distributing the light spookily in a spooky way. And yeah, there's really no landmarks, nothing notable apart from this body of water on our right as we continue traveling. But it's becoming difficult terrain, as it were. It's hard to navigate all of this. It's like the dead lengths of bulrushes that are obscuring a lot of our vision, brown and crackling in the breeze.
As I walk along,
I plunk my feet down and deep into cold, swampy water, and it goes, and then I suction my foot out. And I don't wear shoes, but I feel bad for those around me who do. But because I don't wear shoes, I'm kind of leading the way and saying,
"Oh, watch this hole! Oh, watch this hole! Maybe go that way."
This is not favorable terrain for combat.
And in fact, I offer Leah, the smallest one, a piggyback.
Thanks. That would be nice. And her cloak is just like up to her thighs at this point, is like saturated in dark mud.
And she kind of jumps on my back where my tail meets my back.
Nice.
You know, in that kind of horses.
Yeah. I'm gonna ride side saddle.
Perfect.
And as we continue to trudge through this swamp, and as the sun gets higher in the sky, Graham, with your high passive perception, you notice there is a flesh-colored something sort of trapped in an eddy, some water.
And I crouch immediately, and I pull my hand up and tell everyone to crouch. And I just watch it for a moment.
Yeah, it's not moving.
How large is it?
I don't know, maybe the size of like
a baby.
A football, yeah.
Yeah, and I go, I think that might be the baby.
Said Graham, speak
nothing.
up.
Nothing. Quiet. Shut. What?
What's that?
And I'm going to just let my eyes adjust to the morning light and just stare at it, trying to decipher what I can of it.
It's definitely flesh. It's not moving.
Okay.
Shall I poke it with my spear?
No. And Graham's just sort of surveying the trees and thinking about whether this is a trap or an ambush or what. And he sort of turns around and motions to everyone to move back just a little bit. And he crawls over to Quintus and to the others to get in sort of a hushed tone and say, "There's something up ahead. It's small and flesh-colored. It could be the child. It could be the creature's
Be a hag,
birth.
baby.
It could be, but I think we need to be smart about this. I don't think there's necessarily any reason right now to reveal our position, and ultimately, I think we need to get closer without revealing too much. Perhaps we can confuse it, or become relatively silent and invisible. Is there anything that you have, Tados, in way of spells that would be able to for you to approach silently?"
Ah, it's nice that you ask, Graham. Of course, there is nothing truly that I can do.
Did you take
disguising myself.
Well, I was gonna say, did you take Fog Cloud?
No. I have disguise self. Do you?
I have unseen servant.
What's that?
Ah, perfect. The
I
little sneaky one.
have an invisible servant. Can't speak. Can't really do much of anything except for interact with the world.
That's what you'd want in a servant.
Much the same way that I could.
Can it? So it couldn't report
It can
what
like
it's,
open doors, hold books for you.
but can it report back to what like
No.
it? So.
Well,
Well, how do you
whatever's there?
how do you picture that looking, Leah? How do you picture it working?
Well, it could just go over there and pick that thing up.
Okay, that's a good idea. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, just 1 second. And Leah holds out her
And I sort of stretch out a bit and take out my bow, and sort of I want to cover the area a bit more rather than clump together.
So Leah is using her arcane focus, the shell necklace that she has around her neck, and she sort of does a little bit of a chant with some gesticulations around the side of her face, and then she makes the gesture of like the shape of a human, and there are suddenly footsteps slowly leading away from us. There it goes.
Nice.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
You hear like kind of nothing like obscenely loud, just like vague crackle of twigs so that we can hear. Yeah. And slowly raising out of the sludge, the white flesh becomes suspended in midair as the unseen servant picks up a forearm of a human. Just sort of holds it though. There.
Like a full-sized human's forearm.
Baby.
Yep.
Okay.
Ugh. That's gross.
It's very gross.
Is it attached to the rest of the body, or just a forearm?
Well, I can just ask the servant to if there's more there to pick it up too. Just pick up the rest of it. And so the arm just like drops.
It's kind of comical.
Slaps on the ground, and then nothing happens.
So
And then the arm raises up again.
Obi! That's all I
Do
can think.
you want this?
Obi!
Well, that's
Interesting.
disturbing.
Does it
Ask
look
to
like
bring
the
it over.
yeah? Does it look like the arm's been cut off, or gnawed off, or
Right.
broken off?
It looks like make a straight up intelligence check.
Deal. My lowest.
What?
Straight up.
Shouldn't be able to tell.
Straight up. 9.
It's been kind of jaggedly torn off. You're not really sure.
Okay, it's not by a
Riphead.
blade, at least. Not that it would have made that big of a difference. All right.
The arm looks like it's been ripped off.
And that's the only body part there? Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah.
The servant didn't pick anything else up.
No.
Are there any broken? Maybe we could do a tracking check. I'm wondering whether or not this is one of the villagers that was taken yesterday. I'm looking at the
do
bulrushes.
survival.
Survival? Sure.
And while he's rolling that, I also want to find out how old this arm looks. Is it fresh?
Okay, do you want me to bring the servant back with the arm?
13.
Sure.
So the servant, like, unseen servant, just invisible, like the arm is just floating towards us. And it's like held in front of you. With a 13 survival, you cast around on the ground and you don't see any specific footprints anywhere. But you figure that because of the way that the river bed is, that the arm could have just become lodged in this eddy on the side of the river, just naturally.
Right.
Tados, what did you want to look at?
How old does the arm look?
It's not bloated or overly putrefied. Maybe a day?
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we continue on then. I mean.
Yeah. This is gross. I have a servant for an hour though, so.
Well, let's move quickly, and maybe we can utilize the servant again.
Yes. Okay. Okay, that sounds good. Like as we leave the riverbank, like a crow flies away. Caw, caw.
Kill it! Kill it! It's reporting our location. And I fire my arrow up at it. No.
Do you do it?
No.
Yeah, we hear crickets. We don't see any more body parts for now. And as we continue to move deeper into the swamp, we do see some kind of freaky Blair Witch shit in the trees.
Blair Witch shit?
Like
what? Like little ornaments, I will say.
Little like squirrel skulls and like.
Yeah, they're like
rabbits.
Nothing, not even that like intimidating right now. But there are some like just like bundles of twigs and leaves that are clearly like hung in a tree on purpose, sort of thing. And we're seeing little mounds of dirt here and there.
Mounds.
It's wet, dark earth. Just kind of like heaped on top of rocks, like little excavations. Every we pass one, we pass another, and then like 30 feet later there's 3.
I investigate one of them. I just walk up and I'll do an investigation roll.
Well, okay, what does that look like? What are you doing to investigate? Are you just looking at it really closely?
I sort of I just look at it closely. Oh, why did I pick investigation? Oh, 16. Whatever. I just kind of walk over to it with a bit of a distance, and I sort of just let my eyes scan it, see if the earth is fresh, see if there's anything seemingly buried under it. I don't want to get too close because I'm very nervous about the religious implications.
Yeah, it's the earth is like mixed with clay and sand. It all seems to be kind of the same stuff that you've been seeing as we've been traveling these past number of hours. There's nothing altogether strange about it. No decorations on top. Just seems to be kind of mounded here and there.
And I turn to Tados and I say, do your notes about hags speak of any sort of mounds like these that we see? Anything that would make sense of this?
Do they?
I don't know. Why don't you invent something?
So I will not write this down.
I've rolled a 19. Do you want to tell me anything before I start?
Yeah, they're known to sort of decorate their hovels and thereabouts with.
I just wanted to make a yes or no that this was hag creation.
It's very, very possible.
Yes, the hags. You see, there are many cultures all over the world, but the hags specifically, they use the bones.
And as I reach into the tree branches, I grab one of these little bundle of sticks, which have been placed together. And in fact, it's not sticks, but it's bones and you could see their rib bones and little fingers and little tiny bones. And like, the bones of children they eat. And these mounds, they make the mounds. These mounds are actually their feces that they pile in certain special orders. It's part of their ritual, part of their evil black sorcery. You see, they are a very evil, dark sorcery creature. Of the fiend type, sort of like in the same range of the succubus. They, again, can travel through ethereal planes. Very vile creatures. And ugly. Uglier than anything you've ever seen before.
Hey,
Boils on their face. And
from what I've heard about them, what can I say? I'm surprised they play with their own droppings.
yes, and not only are they droppings, but I'm sorry, this of course, I don't know how this escaped me. Not only are they these piles of their own droppings, this is where they regurgitate their young, and they bury them under these piles of their feces. And as I inspect closer the piles, there are a bunch where they're old dried lumps of dirt with a small hole at the top where you can see the creature has escaped after being born.
So do we have to dig up all these mounds now to find the baby?
Well, as we talk, Graham, your eyes just kind of scan the horizon, and you realize that something that you thought when we were walking towards this clearing where all these mounds are happening, that you thought was just kind of a hill in the distance, is actually smaller but closer to you than you had thought originally. This is some sort of large mound, like a big heaping of earth. There are some trees that are kind of growing on top of it at strange angles. It's definitely not a natural part of the landscape.
You can see how the bend of the trees is waned by their evil sorceric magic.
There's a much larger mound over there. It's I feel like this is where the hag lies.
Oh, it gives me shivers.
I pull out my spear.
And I ready my bow.
And I flick my fingers and a little zap comes off of them.
Let's hope it works this time.
Let's carve us a witch.
Leah, you ready?
Bring it on.
And we're gonna end there. I'm never gonna say it. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Chapters of the Undefeated, episode 7. We are back next week with episode 8. Right? 7.
Yeah. 7.
That's how you count?
Well, you said 7. You said it like I was wrong. And
I know, not that you're wrong. I'm surprised.
we are back with episode 8 next week, and we are gonna carve us a witch.
Just like carving a turkey.
Yeah, Hag Raven style. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. This is a lot. Such a blast. Again, a huge thank you to Joe for running this fantastic game.
You're welcome.
End game experience points. Who do we think should go to this week? Botchlings everywhere.
Oh, I my vote.
Who's your vote? Just
I'm
say
typing it.
Oh, really?
I was gonna say that too.
Let's do it.
Sure, go
Why
for
not?
it.
No, not for that.
Okay, well, fine. William Miller then.
Yeah.
Not for the hag photos, yeah. Just for the participation.
William Miller is always on top of his
Yes.
commenting game, but god damn it, please let me consent to seeing those photos.
Well, they're not real. They're just spooky movie shots.
Yeah.
It's so scary.
Well, but you're trying to cultivate a scary scene. It's not like
I
you're
know,
at a
but
scary
I'm also
place.
trying to like focus on the game, and then I look at this chat and I'm like, What was I even thinking about?
Fair
I was in
enough.
the same boat. I was just like mesmerized.
Well,
by it.
I
hey,
would understand if we're doing a story on princesses.
yeah,
and
I was
fairy
gonna say
tales and
it's
Oedipus
not.
Saturn was-
Here's the reason why I'm not,
Sorry.
because culture I would say
Haggy.
yeah, they were totally on point. You were almost describing exactly what those pictures were trying to communicate. So frankly, I thought it was a good post, William, because yeah, that is what I was picturing.
The important thing is that when you asked him not to post anymore,
He
he
stopped,
didn't.
which is
That's
also
respectful.
equally
Yes.
respectful.
Thanks.
Yeah, to me that's
That's why you're
what it's all
getting my
about.
vote for the next week.
Yeah,
Of course.
and for me, I thought those were really cool. It definitely painted a freaky picture in my fucking head. I was like, "Holy shit, that's exactly what I was
like,
picturing."
oh
Yeah, paints the
eating
tone.
babies. That
For
makes
definitely,
sense.
and you created the creature about someone eating a baby. I was like, that's what I was picturing. So well done, William. You win Endgame experience points. Thank you so much for, again, hanging out with us tonight. This Saturday at 1, we are doing the RPG Academy episode 2, and then 9 o'clock that night, we're doing a spooky stream, so make sure you come and hang out. And we're back next week for Chapters of the Undefeated, episode 8. So lots coming up in the next week or so.
More community content next week, Justin.
Yep, Monday we're going to be starting chapter 2 of
So exciting.
Undefeated community campaign. So tune in for that.
Awesome stuff.
Fantastic. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a fantastic evening and a fantastic weekend. Thank you so much for joining us. And as my friend Justin always likes to say,
Line.
We
Line.
we
We
like
like
to
to
eat
eat.
cheese
Babies.
balls.
We like
God.
to eat babies. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
What did I just say?